Submit to the High Council here on World Class Bullshitters. I'm your host, Jeff Hicks, and tonight with me is the woman who, I'm trying to think of a good phrase to give you, a good moniker. I feel like everybody knows the secret of the universe, the number 42, but Mecca, why don't you give yourself a title?
I just decided I was Queen of the Fandom Menace because I don't like joining things, but that was part of it.
All right, well, the self-proclaimed Queen of the Fandom Menace, Mecca Random 42, is here tonight, folks.
AKA Queen of the Harpies.
Yeah, it started as a joke on Twitter for Halloween, and then I'm like, fuck it, I'll keep it. Why not?
Up next, for Midnight's Edge After Dark, and he's the newest member of the High Council, Tom.
Hail, how's everybody doing?
And finally, we have a very special guest. He is a huge fan of the channel, a fan of the Fandom Menace, and an integral part, of documenting the Fandom Menace. Ladies and gentlemen, let's say hello to author Stephen Walton.
Speaking of self-declarations, I am author Stephen Walton, your Fandom Menace historian, author of the Fandom Menace Volume 1. And I am proud to be from the chat with my brothers and sisters, where I've watched this channel for 2 years. My friends, those of you who I have bled with, those of you who I have commiserated with, since The Last Jedi, since Star Trek Discovery, since every creator from all these franchises have called you, me, and everyone else toxic, racist, man baby, every word they could think of. We together stood united as one voice in this place, this hallowed ground, every Tuesday night on the flagship show of the Fandom Menace, the High Council. So I ask you, my brothers and sisters in the chat, to say with me, all hail the High Council. Thank you, Jeff.
Dude, that was the best introduction that has ever taken place on the show.
Somebody is going to clip that.
Now we need to throw down or smack down or
and add some very uplifting music to it while you're at it.
Right?
The battle cry of the Fandom Menace. I love it.
Yeah, something from Braveheart, Lord of the Rings, anything works.
So tonight we have a lot of stuff to talk about. It's a pretty packed show. Since we've last met, we've had a bunch of Star Wars news come out. We've had some Disney news come out, which is kind of surprising. And Tom has something that he wants to bring to the table tonight as well, which is going to be a lot of fun. So I thought tonight we could briefly talk about this because this leads back in. This man is probably one of the reasons why Star Wars is the way it is. Bob Iger isn't really leaving his position at Disney yet due to the virus and the impact it has had on the entertainment industry and Disney specifically. So, Tom, when you first heard this news, what were your thoughts?
No one has ever really gone.
Mecca?
I just assumed that I have a long answer to this kind of. I assumed he stepped down just temporarily, and when things went longer than they anticipated, he's like, "Oh shit, no, we can't let this patsy in charge." So I'm taking my shit back.
Steven, what are your thoughts about this?
My thoughts were Bob Iger is one of those people who's in a high sphere of influence, right? So he saw this coronavirus coming, the virus that shall not be named, coming long before it hit America. And honestly, I think he wanted to step down if he has any aspirations for a future presidential bid. He stepped down and put somebody else in place to take the fall for the Rise of Skywalker, for all of these, for what's about to happen to Marvel if they keep going in the direction these creators are talking. And he just wanted to step down and get out of sight so that he could save his own fame and image. But now that him stepping back in, him getting involved again, I honestly think is this. Bob Iger is going to step in, and if he can make the company look good in any way to get through this, he's going to take that acclaim. And if it doesn't, Chapek's taking the fall just like before. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, my longer answer is pretty much those together.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that initially in December, when he had planned on stepping down to start concentrating on whatever else he was going to be doing, things shifted. They thought things were going to be okay. The stock dropped. Like Steven said, he had to get his ass in there to get the stock back up, basically. Yeah. Nothing's really changed. Chapek is still the CEO. And Iger never really left. He was still the head of entertainment or whatever the title was.
Yeah. I've just been hearing from Clownfish TV and other sources, people are talking about how Disney's in more financial trouble than we realize. And that, everything's not as grand as people might think. So
Yeah, that's what I've been kind of hearing too. That's definitely my gut instinct is
Oh yeah.
why else would they release so many? Like, I didn't really realize it at the time, but this is the same stuff that happens with Star Trek Discovery and Picard. Every time anything happens with the stock prices falling or they need to like protect something, they release a whole bunch of hit piece articles. They release a whole bunch of, we see a lot more people pop up on social media trying to troll us, trying to discredit us, trying to call us all a bunch of ists and phobes and whatever else they're calling us that day. Whatever the term of the month is. Like 1 month it'll be, oh, you're a grifter. 1 month is, oh, you're fake news. It's just like clockwork. It's like they have a memo and they just recite back the same shit almost.
Like an email chain of insults.
Yeah. It's either that or people are truly NPCs and just lemmings copying and pasting what they hear, which, that's possible too. But
That happens a lot. That I can pretty much almost confirm.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, Rebecca's right. And I've been saying it myself. I think Disney wouldn't be in such a rough position if obviously we wouldn't be in the middle of this. But even if they were in the middle of this, if it wasn't for Star Wars not doing so well, Onward not doing so well, the parks being closed, and the Chapek situation not working out for the stocks the way they wanted, the Fox acquisition, all these things culminated together, kind of weighed down Disney at this moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really like, it's put them in a very vulnerable position. Like we did a video a couple of weeks back about the whole, Apple taking over Disney thing. Like there was some analyst who just kind of set it out there, and said, look, this could happen. And realistically, it could. Like they're in such a vulnerable position right now, and Apple owns so much stock already. They could technically come in and do a hostile takeover, I believe. I'm not quite clear on all the laws anymore because it's been quite a few years since there's been a hostile takeover, but I mean, it's very plausible, especially if they get George Lucas involved, because those are the two entities that have the most stock in Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I remember when Iger's book came out, and you're talking about what was the phrase, or what was the thing he had to sign? Basically a hush order or whatever. He's like, why would I want to say
the NDA?
An NDA. He's like, why would I want to say anything bad? I'm the biggest stockholder in the company, so yeah. It's weird to think George Lucas is one of the biggest stockholders of Disney stock, but hey, that's the deal he made, the decision he made. I will say this though, and I briefly touched on it on Fandom Menace last night on Monday. With Disney in the position they're in currently, and I don't mean like, oh, they're bleeding money, we know all this stuff, but it just feels like all the big IPs they bought have reached the point, I won't say their expiration date, but definitely their sell-by date, because Marvel really had a great finale, Star Wars didn't so much. But I mean, what else do they have? I mean, the Pixar movies are successful, but they don't make Marvel money. They don't do consistently that much, because you'll have a Pixar movie, one will be a big hit, one won't be. Toy Story was a slow hit. Other ones weren't. Onward, because of this virus situation, did it even make it to theaters?
Even before, no, yeah, it did. Even before this came down, it didn't do well. That was that's what I was saying about Onward was. That was their Pixar movie didn't do well, and that's a couple Pixar movies in a row that haven't done well.
But they have an answer for this, guys. It's live-action CG remakes of old Disney films.
Robin Hood with buttholes.
That's right. That's right.
How will we ever get horny for this new version?
It confused my genitals, man.
Don't bury the goddamn lead, guys.
You know what? Fuck it. Let's just start with this real quick. I mean, if you're gonna tee this up perfectly, the audience is here. We're gonna get to our Dave Filoni stuff and our Daisy Ridley stuff in just a moment. But right here, this is a fun way to loosen everybody up. Folks, when you go see a stand-up, you don't go see.
I found this the other night, and I'm still picking my jaw up off the desk.
There is a paragraph in this article that I can't understand. I just can't. I can't understand how someone allowed it to be printed on a website.
So, Tom, instead of me reading this entire thing, do you want to give a quick a preface?
Actually, it's not that long.
Okay.
If I wanted to. That's up to you.
Well, yeah, you can probably just skip that whole first paragraph.
Yeah, it's not the link. That's what it's packing that counts, Jeff.
Exactly.
All right, so the remake will be written by Cary Granlund, who scripted Disney Plus's Lady and the Tramp live-action remake with trained animals. Cara Lopez Estrada, Blind Spotting, will direct the feature. It is set to premiere on Disney Plus as well. Unlike Lady and the Tramp, new Robin Hood will be live-action CGI hybrid format with anthropomorphic cast retaining their animal-human hybrid looks. So what exactly will this look like? Will the characters in the new Robin Hood resemble the disturbing cat-human hybrids and cats? And more importantly, will we be still horny for Robin Hood? What?
Hey, only if they release the butthole version, though. That's the only way.
Let's not mince words. Foxy Robin Hood, voiced by Brian Bedford, could get it, but will the character's uncanny sex appeal translate into a CGI live action version, or will it confuse our genitals even further?
How was that even allowed to be printed? I don't know about Tom, but I'm a little confused.
I don't know.
Points.
I don't know what the.
Is that Jesse?
Yeah, Jesse doesn't know what the point is. What do you think, though? Are you gonna get a sexy Robin Hood live action hybrid CGI like Fantastic Mr. Fox, but not?
I'm morbidly curious. My curiosity will probably stop at the trailers.
Well, it's Disney Plus, so we have a year free of it. So
I don't know. The one that confused me was Lady and the Tramp. I don't know about you guys.
I didn't watch that one. I'm not even really up on the original one that much. I've seen it once.
I didn't see it. I'm really not into dogs like that.
You're not?
Cats? No,
That's
I didn't
the
want
new
to fuck
thing.
them. Oh, is it? Are we supposed to watch these movies without wanting to fuck the characters in it now?
No.
I don't remember.
You're supposed to want the butthole cut released.
So we're supposed to ship them.
Yeah.
So we're supposed to ship Lady and the new Robin Hood.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's going to look like.
This is the new fandom. This is the new fandom. This is the people. Look, these are what these creatives decided to get rid of traditional fans, decided to kick out the OG legacy fandoms and attract this. People who are questioning how sexy Robin Hood in '73 was, of all things. Who in their right mind looked at that and said, can he get it on with Little John? Bear and a Fox threesome? Who would think that? These people at the Mary Sue, who have been calling us crazy for the last how many years?
That's the thing that really bothered me about this, because there was this joke for a while. This isn't actually new news, as far as like the whole people getting attracted to this particular character in the Disney lexicon, and that doesn't even really bother me. And we were even having fun with Mary. People are calling her a furry, Mary Mayhem, but we were just say, like
Panda Suit Mary.
Yeah, that Mary. Like, this doesn't necessarily make you a furry. Even liking Beast doesn't necessarily make you a furry. Now, the panda suit, I don't know. I can't comment on that. But
it's a double standard, though, I guess.
Well, that's what I was getting to.
Yeah,
jokes aside, is
is
the fact that people like Matt Kadish and anybody else, even Anna, who's recently gotten a lot of gull for, or got a lot of crap for her art and how it is
for making women
perceived. Every time we say something about, a character not looking the way they did in the classic form or anything like that, we're automatically bitching because we don't have something to fap to, is one of the first things that one of these people will say.
You just can't jerk off to it.
Right.
And then they go and write something like this and we're just supposed to let it go. Fuck that.
No, this is weird. I can't believe I guess this is just like the Raylo people. Well, they realize that Star Wars is dead, so they're going to move on to Robin Hood. That is a sentence I just said in front of 900 people.
So, Jeff, what you're saying is that didn't turn you on? It's Robin Hood '73?
I guess I'm just living a repressed lifestyle because I'm not turned on by
You're an
Robin. I'm an ist.
I saw this when I was a little kid. I didn't have those type of feelings when I was a little kid. I didn't want to fuck anything. I wanted to watch a cartoon with some songs in it and shit, probably. I don't even remember watching it. That's how long ago it was.
How do you get to the point where you're a writer and you put down and you seriously think and write and get it published that this movie confused your genitals? Will this confuse your genital? Are you what? What depraved type of person are you?
I know exactly what type of person this is. This
the
is
Raylo
who doesn't
type.
actually care what they're writing and knows that they're going to get way more clicks by something like this than they would just writing do we really need a weird version of this? No. You needed to take some weird angle like that.
Well, like down there, she was saying, there's like scores of people on Twitter that were tweeting out about this, sexual confusion concerning Robin Hood. And I looked through and I saw like out of 10 tweets, maybe 3. Maybe 2, right? That had anything to do with that, and I can't even come to the realization that happened. Just 1 or 2 tweets, let alone this article.
I'm just trying to read what this woman has also wrote for the Mary Sue, and it looks like none of it is worth anything. So,
Oh, and Chelsea Steiner's on my list. Her and Rachel Leishman are basically the same type of person who just
Yeah.
write the most nonsense bullshit and hate takes and, oh, men suck and this is why everything needs to be replacing men and just that bullshit stuff.
Mecca would know because the Mary Sue loves Mecca. I think they write articles for you. To do
Yeah,
videos
no.
on.
Well, haven't they
You
wrote
know
quite a
they're
few
owned by
about
a
you?
man. As William Shatner's pointed out, that the Mary Sue is owned by men, and I believe he even said that they weren't paid for the first, however many years that they were a publication. So,
Well,
I can't imagine why with such stunning and beautiful articles like that.
this is the world we live in, folks.
It is.
It's funny, is everyone's like, oh man, Hollywood's falling apart due to the virus. This shit's getting made. I don't care. Let it all fall apart. Just
yeah, I know. Fuck them.
start fresh.
I mean, we've gotten already to the point where it's ridiculous with the whole quote-unquote live-action CGI, which I hate saying because it's such an oxymoron, right? But to get to the point where, let's face it, that was like Disney's thing. Do an animated film with animals that talk or anthropomorphic.
You can do it, Tom. Go ahead.
Anthropomorphic. Screw you, Steven. Anthropomorphic. I could say it if I'm not trying. Those things. Animals. It's like, okay, they did this because that was their fucking gimmick, right? And it's kind of loosely based on the original Robin Hood starring what's his face?
Errol Flynn?
Errol Flynn, yeah.
Mhm.
Even down to the costume and everything like that. So, I mean, the whole suave, debonair era of him, that comes from that version, that character. So that's kind of why I could see where some people will consider him quote unquote sexy, I guess. But to talk about when you're a kid and your genitals being fucking confused, that's just wrong. Like Steven said. I mean, you shouldn't put that in a fucking article.
That's a woman that will leave a herd in your bed.
You need to think about that before you say that in fucking therapy, let alone in public. And then the other part is like I said, the whole reason they did it as animals is because it was kind of a homage to the Errol Flynn, but it was Disney's version of doing it. So if you're going to do a live action version, what's the point in doing it as animals? That's kind of pointless. Why don't they just do a live action version and just call it Robin Hood and make it its own thing, or just leave it alone? And I'm even heard some people go, oh, let's do it like Zootopia. What's the difference? You're still doing an animated film. And to me, that's just, I don't know.
It's already animated. We don't need.
You can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig in the end.
Right.
And I'm not saying that Robin Hood is a pig by any means. It's actually a classic as far as I'm concerned. But you know what I'm saying. I mean, you're not going to make it any better by making it a Zootopia type 3D animated film either.
Well, I guess this is Disney's attempt to try to court the furry audience as well as the Raylo audience as well. It's like, look, we get it. Disney has a lot of money. There's only so many people that are going to pay to see their projects. So we got to get more people. And so we're going to pick the weirdest niche to appease.
But, that's where the question comes in, though, with everything that's happening right now with the virus that shall not be named. On the other end of this, financially, are they going to have the money to do that, to let these creatives who apparently have very strange niches promote their weirdism, create what I call fandom engineering, getting rid of the old fans and attracting ones that you want? Are they going to be able to afford doing these things? I'm really interested to see how we are in 6 months and the creative choices that are made by necessity and who they cater to. Is it going to be the people they've been trying to court, or is it going to be people who want to support their products, paying customers like us?
Well, Stephen, I think it's a little too late because for the time it takes to put something like that into production and make it, they're going to need something like that you're alluding to, like, oh, they need something that's going to be a hit to appeal to everybody, not the niche market that they online cater to. I think it's going to be too late to try to get something like that unless they have something in the works. I mean, if they had an Avengers movie they were sitting on, or they had some big project, like, for example, if Star Wars had not come out yet, or if they pushed it back due to the virus or something, they would have had something in the pipelines. But if they have to make something out of necessity, it's going to take 2 years minimum. And if they do rush it, like a Rise of Skywalker, where it looks, it's very obvious on screen that this thing was pushed or rushed, I think it's going to hurt them just as much. So I'm with you about the 6 month window. I'm really interested to see how everything comes back, especially how people in society accept going out in public, like movies or other big event things. Are they going to practice the social distancing? Are they going to wear masks to movies?
They will at first, I think, but after everything calms down and everybody's pretty sure things are back to quote unquote, normal. I've already read quite a few analysts saying that they think we're going to have record numbers for like sporting events, theater attendance, concert attendance, and stuff like that. Because people are just going to be able to get out finally, and they're going to want to.
We're going to be so willing to get out of the house.
Right.
Yeah.
And most likely, guys, but you've also got to think about the fact that a lot of people are stuck in right now. They're reading, they're watching, they're consuming more entertainment and media than they have probably in years because they're not working. So really what their opinion, normies don't really pay attention to entertainment news like that. They don't pay attention to what's going on. And now everyone's home. So and there's very little new information coming out. So we're just rehashing old articles, old instances. How do we know that the general public is going to come out of the next 6 months, next 8 months with a fresh perspective on how franchises have been treated and what entertainment companies have been doing?
Well, not only that, I've seen a few people point out how, notice a lot about how a lot of the SJW bullshit has calmed down quite a bit when, there's other things to worry about.
Right.
And then as far as the Robin Hood, I was just going to say, like CW pointed out in the chat, it's not like we've never had a live action version of Robin Hood before. That's just it. Outside of maybe Dracula, he's probably gotten more movies as far as any public domain character out there. So what is the point? You can watch the original on Disney Plus already, but yeah.
To answer the question about will we be going out in movies in droves? I don't know if we will, because I think people are seeing how much bullshit a lot of these celebrities are, and I think they're going to be a little bit more concerned. Mm-hmm. Like you said, they're at home, they've lost their jobs. Meanwhile, these celebrities are crying from their mansions and their swimming pools. Mm-hmm. They're alone or they feel like they're in jail, and people are tired of that shit.
Yeah, no, because like the whole, like, I believe a lot of people watch Trolls just because they could.
Yeah,
because they won't tell us any numbers, but I guess it set some record, but they won't tell us what yet. So I think they're afraid to let the theaters know. That's why.
Yeah, probably.
Briefly, while we're on the topic of streaming, did you see, Tom and Mecca? I don't know if you like the movie Splash, that Disney Plus censored it.
Yeah, they put
really
what?
Yeah,
back thing. Yeah,
those
and everyone's just like, "Oh, it's no big deal. They censored her butt. If you got to see,
on
the
internet."
You
know what's really weird is I was just, and I'm not even joking, I was just thinking of this the other day. I was thinking of Splash because I'm like, I haven't seen Splash in forever. Actually, I think it was when we were talking last week about like John Candy and a few other things come up, and then I'm like, I wonder if they cut that on Disney Plus. I actually thought that.
Yeah, they did. Let me see if I can find a picture of it.
I mean, that's censoring art. Like, that's the beginning. Where does it go from there?
That's definitely censoring art, because that's Daryl Hannah's ass, y'all.
And that's a national treasure,
it just, to me, the precedent, it's like, when does that stop? It's like, well, we censored it here, and we did this, we did that, and these little bitty things. And it's like, just because you hold the IP doesn't mean you have the right to cut out shit from a movie. That's not acceptable. So,
right. It's McClunky.
Yeah, it's McClunky. Thank you. McClunky.
Speaking of remakes, isn't that another one they said something about they were remaking, but they were actually gender swapping?
I think it already didn't it come out already?
If it did, it must not have done anything then. It didn't make a splash.
But no, it says Channing Tatum's splash is. They've been talking about it since 2016, and it's never happened. In 2019, They put out an article that says it's happening. It's never happening. Overboard is what got remade. That's what confused me.
That's horrible. Wow.
I mean, I like Overboard. But
I like the original.
Movie, I like the original, but is there a remake? There is a remake?
There is one, and it's gender swapped, yeah.
Okay, so misogyny. Are they going to start coming down on that film for that? If it's a guy,
No, but they came down on the original before that one came out.
Yeah.
So let's see, folks. It's time to start talking about Dave Filoni in just a moment. So first off,
speaking of somebody who's going to find wolves attractive, or furries attractive anyway.
First off, our friend Matt G sends it a $2 super chat, no message. Thank you very much, Matt G. R. Farr says, "Who's up for a reading of Dana Schwartz's book?" I mean, you guys want to torture yourselves?
I've watched her dance, so
Drop the taco.
I watched a bunch of the Comics Gate guys go through it the other day, so I don't know. And then I watched, I think even Gary and them guys went through it the other day too.
I haven't seen any of those. I'm going to check them out. I personally don't care about going through Dana Schwartz's book.
I don't even care about anything she does. It's just like, okay, cool.
I just meme it.
Oh, did you see what she wrote yesterday?
No, what did she write yesterday?
She wrote, she's saying 7 for the first time ever, and she would have fixed that by not going to the killer's final destination so he could complete his mission or whatever. And I'm like, you dumb idiot. It's like, you call yourself a fucking writer? You think that would have stopped him?
That still wouldn't have changed the outcome.
It still wouldn't have changed the outcome. Bitch's head still be in a box. It doesn't matter.
So she saw the movie yesterday for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
and now she's trying to fix it.
Yes.
7's a fucking classic.
I know.
Who the hell is this lady? What has she done?
Gave us Gay Alfred.
She gave us a teen novel and called out South Park by copying and pasting what somebody else wrote about it.
Sorry,
First off, just because you were 2 years old, Dana, when this movie came out, you need to know to shut the fuck up.
I wasn't even born yet, but yeah, when I joked about it. But
oh my God, she had an internship with Conan O'Brien in The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Awesome. She's from Highland Park, Illinois. Awesome. She's never worked on anything. Oh, great. She's in LA. Maybe I'll run into her on the street and tell her what I think of her in person. She's done nothing. Here's the thing. She has 4 books to her name. And We're Off, Choose Your Own Disaster, The White Man's Guide to White Male Writers of the Western Canon. Funny. And then Anatomy, a Love Story, which will be published in 2021.
She has the right politics, Jeff. That's all it is. She has the right politics and the right atmosphere. That's all. That's no talent required. We've already learned this lesson over the last couple of years.
Obviously, she doesn't even know how to write.
No talent required. You don't need to understand. You don't need to understand mythos in order to write about it. Look at Gotham High. Look at The Last Jedi. You don't need to understand mythos if you have the right politics.
The only way her version of 7 ends is Kevin Spacey lives. That's it.
That sounds awesome. Not.
So she's like, I fixed it. No, you didn't.
She knows better than you, Tom. Understand it. Just accept it.
Because you think that, you know what? Come on. You and I and everybody, we all know Morgan Freeman's like, I don't know what happened. The gun went off. And we found a head in a box after he was dead. He didn't do it out of malice.
All I know is that people like this getting the reins of Hollywood make me welcome the destruction of all the entertainment industry. No, thank you.
Meaning Brad Pitt didn't go to jail.
She isn't the first person Marvel hired without any experience. That is an accurate statement. Disney just has, like you said, Steven, if you have the right politics, you're going to get a job at Disney or Marvel or any of these entertainment companies. You're going to get a job. It doesn't matter if you have 20 years of experience under your belt, you're a world-class artist or writer or anything. If you don't have those right ideals or you're great on deadlines, no. We'll take late books, we'll take no books, we'll take all this other shit just if you believe the right thing. So
yeah. And which leads into my opinion on Dave Filoni, actually.
Well, let me get caught up with the super chats and we'll start. First off, our friend James Moore says that was a beautiful intro. So Stephen, people love
it. Brother, thank you.
Eden Franklin says, just had a newborn. We love the show. Well, congratulations, Eden.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
We got a little fandom menacer. There we go. Dr. Coffinails, thank you very much. He says, Iger is the last nugget that never flushes down.
Well said, Dr. Coffinails.
I have nothing else to add to that, Dr. Coffinails.
In other words, he's a Klingon.
NA, thank you for 2 messages. NA says the future looks more and more like Shadowrun. Brother, get the flamer, the heavy flamer. NA, I don't think you're very happy with the direction of the entertainment industry, my friend. That's why we're all here. We'll make our own shit. Kevin Castillo says God has left the chat. I mean, I would call Robin Hood very unholy myself. So.
I guess I gotta. There's some confusion in the chat. No, Dana Schwartz is not working on 7. They're not remaking 7. She finally watched it for the first time in her life, and she thought she could fix the ending. And it just shows how shitty of a writer she is.
You know what?
She doesn't understand story.
Tom, I want you to hold me to something. When her Hulk show gets aired on Disney Plus, I want you and I to make each other a promise that we're going to do an episode. We're going to review every episode, and our entire review is going to be how we can make literally every frame better.
That's a good idea.
That's all we're going to do. It's going to be like EFAP, but just the two of us, and we're just going to be like, all right, in this frame, they could have done this better, and just run this shit into the ground. It's like, lady, nobody cares about you trying to fix shit. Who are you?
It'd be better if she goes, "What's in the box?"
Then we'll get, oh, you attacked this woman on social media because you didn't like her Hulk show. You're sexist. It's like, that's not how this works.
Who attacked what? I never contacted the bitch. I made a dance meme video out of her cringe.
This is the first time I retweeted anything she's ever wrote. I'm surprised I'm not blocked yet.
I'm not blocked, but I preemptively blocked her.
I'm going to see if we're blocked. She probably has us blocked.
But I do know that we are known, obviously, at Marvel's and Disney. But yeah, so I mean, they may have rules. So I don't know.
I would love if there was like a fucking rule, like you have to block the Fandom Menace people.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, I think they may not. I was saying they may not be allowed to block us, like we may be on a specific list. So,
well,
because I'd make a video if I were blocked.
that's part of it.
I'd monetize it.
But
Right.
just because of all the shit I can't really get into it all, but what we had to go through to talk to the guy who writes Conan right now, yeah, it was a lot. So I know they're well aware of us.
yeah, I can't even. Let's see. Let's find her on Twitter. Are we blocked? Yes, we're blocked.
Speaking of blocked, apparently I got blocked by Alison Pregler from Movie Night. So, well, fine. I'll just unsub to her then.
Yeah, that's the only reason I can see why I'm not blocked by certain people.
This is us. This is us with Dana Schwartz.
Yeah, I'm not surprised you guys are, but that's what I'm saying. Like, the only reason I think Midnight's Edge and members of, like, myself aren't is because of certain reasons. That's why.
Oh,
You're probably not allowed.
Definitively.
Right.
Because they, like Mecca said, we go out and say, they fucking blocked us.
Well, that's
Well-
okay. I mean, I can just open up their thing in an incognito window. Blocking only means they can't see me. I can still see them. That's not a problem, but that just means I don't got to deal with their shit in my inbox.
Well, I'm so hurt that Dana Schwartz blocked us. Oh god,
Aren't you?
No.
I'm waiting for it. I would wish she would, but
I mean, now I know that we definitely have to make our show. You'll just have to tag her in all the videos, Tom, since
we got to make her one of those cards now.
Yeah.
No,
yes.
I'm not blocked. That's so funny.
Probably because you're on Mead.
I don't think
wasn't-
she knows who I am. She probably doesn't even know who I am. But then
You
again,
honestly think she might not?
my dance mix video only got 3,000 views. She might not. I
She
mean,
knows
unless
you are.
is she Google baiting herself all the time?
That's the thing, is she's narcissistic enough. She probably sits there and watches all of her hate videos.
I mean, if we want to watch her dance, we can.
See, now here's the difference between her and Bree. I don't think Bree knows how to use a computer.
No, text.
You don't think she knows how to use technology?
No, I don't. She probably wouldn't know how to use YouTube or Twitter or Facebook. Most of these celebrities don't.
You think she'd have somebody for that?
She might, but they keep that shit. You ever see that episode of South Park where Cartman hires Butters
Yes.
to filter out all his? That's the world all these people live in. There's a reason why I think they did that episode. That shit's based on reality, I bet.
Those
Dude,
aren't
they
real
know.
people. Those aren't real
Close your
people.
eyes if you don't want cringe. Close your eyes, because I did a dance mix. So Rob and I worked on a song not too long ago, and it just kind of fit. So we got like 45 seconds or something, or maybe a minute and a half.
Hey, this is Dana Schwartz.
Hello, I'm Brie Larson. Drop the taco. Get in the car.
Just take people. People.
Drop the taco. Get in the car.
What is
So bad.
Drop the taco.
Trying to be a person.
The taco.
There's a big rock trying to play a part.
That was Dana Short. That's Dana Short's dancing right there.
It's supposed to be.
Just trying to be a person.
That is unfortunate.
Disturbing. Disturbing.
This is why I'm not
That's why you threw in some boobage just to.
palate cleanser, even though it's Breeze.
Just see people.
She is so talented.
This is not the song she's dancing to, but yeah, that was from a live stream I did not too long ago. And then I just kind of edited the video together later. But Oh, it's precious. It's precious. I
All
warned
right.
you guys.
What?
I tried to warn them in chat. They're like, why would you do this?
All right, poor Jeff now. He's been trying to get going on Filoni
No.
here for like 20 minutes.
Well, you know what? The audience has waited long enough. We'll read the super chats in a moment. Let's start talking about Dave Filoni. Now, I see people in the chat freaking out. What's happening with Dave Filoni? What has he done? What has he said? Well, our friend Ichibaka over at Disney Star Wars is Dumb has actually helped us find some quotes from Dave Filoni. And now these aren't just like, oh, this is hearsay or this or that. These are quotes from the Art of the Rise of Skywalker book. This isn't a rumor. There's pictures of the book. This isn't hearsay. This is Dave's quotes in this book. If you have a complaint, find him and complain to him. But I saw this article entitled, Lose Your Faith in Dave Filoni, All Ye Who Enter Here. It says, the publication of The Art of the Rise of Skywalker has confirmed that no one at Lucasfilm knows what the hell they're doing without strong guiding hand of George Lucas. So if you think Filoni is your savior, guess again. A reader posted a scan from the book, which has the following text in it. Lucasfilm Executive Director Doug Chiang wondered, since these 3 films are female-driven, where's Leia in episodes 8 and 9? So right there, from the start, it's the story that Disney Trilogy wasn't going to be driven by the wars in the stars, but by the female genitalia instead. In the same book, Dave Filoni is quoted as saying, there's a potential idea here about the matriarchy coming back and subverting what has always been dominantly patriarchal male heroes, Zeus, Hercules, and everything else. John Knoll says, the super intriguing setup in Empire is that the boy is our only hope. No, there is another. I felt the character in Jedi that didn't really go anywhere. But maybe Yoda was really talking about what happens with Leia in episode 8, 30 years in the future. So I'm going to stop right there and say, yes, Yoda's talking about the time where Princess Leia was blown up in a ship and flew through space like Mary Poppins. George Lucas wrote that shit in 1979. There we go. It's confirmed.
Believe me, if I told you, you would not.
To which Dave Filoni replies, I love that. We should lift it so Leia is the Obi-Wan of the entire trilogy. It's dangerous because it makes it so about the women of Star Wars. Something to me says that's right. There's something happening culturally. You look at birth, regeneration, the world itself is in need of healing. All of these things are emblematic of the mother character in the myth. They're all matriarchal things. Mother Earth itself, global warming is a hot topic. So that is what Dave Filoni was talking about. He's into the matriarchal aspect of Star Wars. Everyone talks about, in passing, at least those basic phrases.
Now, were these before or after Disney?
This is, what do you mean, like before or after? This book has just come out.
That he made these quotes.
Let's see. Well, according to the Disney Star Wars' Dumb Post, like I said, this book comes from The Art of the Rise of Skywalker, which just came out. It talks about a phone call with Pablo Hidalgo. And like I said, there really isn't just, it has to be post-Disney. That's the thing.
Okay, because that's, I mean, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's, playing it up to his bosses as far as some of this stuff. But then again, he's in that fucking bubble. So are we surprised?
Well, I think a lot of people look at Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau as the 2 guys that are going to save Star Wars. I think it's just Jon Favreau. If there's
I'm
something
not
that's going
to argue with that, yeah.
I never look at Dave Filoni and the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars pre-revival was awesome. I've tried to go back and watch it. I have trouble with it. I'm not here to bitch about it. But I also noticed an interesting article about the Clone Wars from our friend Ichibaka as well. And it talks about how the Clone Wars has been altered. And they keep using the phrase, it's been made better. But some people would argue that's subjective and it's not necessarily accurate. So before we get into that stuff, author Stephen Walton, you're our guest tonight. What did you think of Dave Filoni's quotes or these sentiments? How do you feel about that?
I honestly believe that he is trapped in this bubble around people who want to push a female-centric story. And I'm guessing at the timeline, I'm thinking somewhere in the last 5, 6, 7 years. And so there's certain keywords that he has to say. Now, in as far as presenting a strong female lead, that's never been the issue. I don't think that to any Star Wars fan it's been an issue. I mean, there's plenty of people in the EU love Jaina Solo. I would have if they had given us that instead of Ray Palpatine. So I think that he's playing a game. I think he's having to say certain things. And maybe if he is the creator that some of us hope he is, he was thinking about presenting a female lead that would have been a strong character, supported by a story that honored the legacy of Star Wars, honored the previous films and the storytelling in them. No matter what a person's position is on the prequels, really, you look at the original Star Wars. This is coming after that. So I would, at least as a creator, model my trilogy after that with elements of the prequel era. So maybe he was thinking of it like that. As far as saving the franchise, I've had little faith in Dave Filoni for a long time. So, I like some of what he's done. I haven't liked other things. He's made some changes to canon that I haven't agreed with. But, I mean, overall, I trust him more than Kathleen Kennedy. I honestly believe, Favreau is really the changing force. I think maybe the guiding light that's going to bring us back to some material that's recognizable instead of what we've been getting.
Yeah, Filoni just wants to go play with wolves.
Or foxes.
And Fox.
Now, Mecca, what did you think of this quote or Dave Filoni's stance? Are you surprised?
I think a lot of the time, if you are in a new environment, I've been in new workplaces where you kind of have to recite back what everybody else does, what corporate does. I don't know at this point. I mean, he did, push for Ahsoka. So I don't know though. I mean, I haven't really seen the Clone Wars and stuff, so I'm not too familiar with what else he's done outside of like Mandalorian involvement. So I don't know. I think Favreau's probably. I have more faith in him at this point, just because I've seen more of his contact and his connection with Baby Yoda. So I don't really care about any more Star Wars.
Yeah,
that's it, Mecca. Baby Yoda. That's it.
Just Baby Yoda.
Okay.
Baby Yoda.
I want to make that clear.
Yeah, Favreau's probably our guy. I mean, even with his faults, I trust him probably the most of everybody to this point.
Yeah, I do too, because he comes in. Here's the thing. I'm not saying he's like untouchable, but what I'm saying is like he's had a career before this shit. And if he doesn't really have much to lose because he's Jon Favreau. He has a name. Dave Filoni, let's be honest, guys. He works on Star Wars. We all love this thing. He's just that. He's not Jon Favreau, who's been in shit with Vince Vaughn for 3 decades. He's been on TV shows. He's produced. He's directed. He has clout. He has pull everywhere in all forms of the industry. He was on The Sopranos, for God's sakes. The dude's been around for a long time. And he just so happens to be a great big Star Wars fan who knows how to make quality films. Let's be honest. If we rank everyone that's worked on a Star Wars project officially, because there's rumors that Spielberg helped work on Episode 3 and all these other things, but let's just take the directors, everyone that's directed or produced Star Wars content. He's going to be in the top, so maybe the best one in terms of like breadth of career. I know Lucas directed the first Star Wars film, but he also did the prequels, and that's really about it in terms of like what he's directed. Favreau's done a lot of shit. The first 2 Iron Man films, he was lined up to do the Avengers. What else? Yeah, Rian Johnson's done a handful of films. J.J. Abrams, yes, he's on paper, he has the most money attributed to the most recent box office hits. But I mean, how many are rehashes? How many are remakes? How many are unsettling and disruptive with the fan community? I don't think there's a better dude out there that could be associated with Star Wars than Jon Favreau right now.
I mean, as far as image, no. A lot of normies see him and they see old George era. But you've got a lot of people who are in the fandom that are in the particulars of everything that's changed and progressed over the last 15 years. And there's a lot of mistrust that could be handed in the direction of Filoni for the decisions that he's made. But I mean, as far as trying to bring together a fandom or present something that might reunite the fandom, in their ignorance, I believe that they would try and push Filoni as that figure, as that face. But I think it'll do probably just as much damage as has been done.
Yeah, I'm just hoping, that it is Jon Favreau. But I see a lot of people have been talking about how adamant Filoni was that Ahsoka is still alive, but George Lucas pushed for her to be dead. And now we're at a point where if we watch The Rise of Skywalker, well, I don't suggest it, folks. You do what you want. But if you watch The Rise of Skywalker, Ashley Eckstein is one of the voices at the end when Rey hears all the Force voices. That's Ahsoka's voice, and they're all supposed to be dead. So I just don't get, there's so many confusing things with that character. Like,
you gotta read the book.
What did you say? They got to rebook
You
it?
got to read a book, Jeff. You got to read a book to figure it out. If you don't
Okay.
understand something in the movie, they've got books out there you got to read.
I'm not in high school. I don't want to do homework.
Oh, the thing is, I'm paying you guys. It's not like, I'm getting an education or getting a piece of paper after this. I'm buying a movie ticket to watch a movie. I'm supposed to get a full experience.
Yeah, you got to read the book before. you got to do your homework, just like Tom said. In order to understand. All right. Hey, I don't give a field of Snokes. You have to read the books to understand what's going on.
It's like, no, I don't want to buy the DLC. You're supposed to give me the finished product. And if you didn't do that, then I'm going to be upset and annoyed.
Mm-hmm.
Because I paid money for it. I sat through a 2.5-hour movie with a bunch of screaming Raylos. And
It's Werner Herzog.
And by the way, people in the chat talk about Indiana Jones is next. I firmly believe that movie never gets released. I don't think there'll be an Indiana Jones 5. But the way the virus blows over, the time the virus blows over, they'll be worried about something else. That's my guess. So.
Filoni looks like he got gas right there. He looks very
I was
uncomfortable.
say Filoni just looks. I don't know if he looks uncomfortable, if he's just like whatever, but you can tell Favreau's actually like worried about talking to Werner. He's just like, "Is that okay? Can you do this? I don't want to bother you."
Filoni looks like he ate off the taco truck. I mean, he doesn't look very comfortable.
Werner's like, "I'm almost 90 years old. I can do this. Leave me the fuck alone."
Someone changed my bag.
Damn kid.
I don't know. I thought he was good. Actually, I enjoyed him a lot.
love it.
Why didn't they should have kept him as an enemy, as a bad guy for the rest of the series? I thought.
I'm with you. I feel like when they killed him off and they introduced what's the guy's name? His name's Giancarlo Esposito, I believe is the actor's name. What's the character's name?
Damn, I didn't care enough. That's how much I feel.
Yeah,
about
Moff Gideon. That was
Moff Gideon.
Moff Gideon. I'm not as invested in him. Maybe because we've only seen him for one and a partial episode. But Werner Herzog's character, I really did like that. Like, I just don't know how you can have one company make something that's so it feels, to me at least, feels like I'm in the same world as Return of the Jedi. 5 years ago we were at the Battle of Endor. I believe it when I watch this shit. But they can do that and then give us this garbage tier other Star Wars stuff. It's almost like when Marvel would put out those regular comic books and then the comic books for kids that were just like one word balloon, and it's like, oh my god, Spider-Man punched a guy, and there's a bunch of crappy pictures. Like, How can you have such a disparity in terms of quality?
I don't know. The one thing that I liked about Moff Gideon was the connection, the feel to the original trilogy. I mean, they definitely went for the feels of the original trilogy in the Mandalorian, and that got me through a lot of it, to be honest. But that's why I would have loved to see more of that character. I mean, just to have a Moff or a Grand Moff involved in the story. I mean, I know we do later, don't we? Oh God, what's his name? I can't think of the guy from. Who's the bad guy at the very end? The Latino guy, dark skin. Do you remember him?
The one from Breaking Bad you're talking about?
Yeah.
That's Moff Gideon.
Oh, that's Moff Gideon. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I enjoy him. I thought we were talking about this gentleman. I apologize.
Oh no, you're fine. Believe me, these characters, their names aren't really burned into the.
I don't remember.
No, they're not burned into my memory at all.
He's just Werner Herzog. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know his character's name at all. My thing with him though is like he just brings this level of like Giancarlo Esposito's
gravitas. Yeah, it's because he's Werner Herzog. You don't have to really. He's one of the, that's what Favreau knows, and that's the difference. That kind of answers the question from before. Is what's the difference? Is Jon Favreau's a fucking veteran. He knows when he grabs guys like this and brings them in, they're going to deliver.
Right.
When you get guys like Rian Johnson and even to an extent J.J. Abrams, who don't really understand what they're doing, you get what we get. And honestly, even Gareth Edwards and some of the other guys, I don't want to say that Lord and Miller did a bad job because we've not been able to see what they did. We'll never see what they did. And I don't want
Thank God.
And I don't want to cut down on Ron Howard either, but I seen his name brought up earlier, but guys, he's not going to be making very many movies. He's going to retire soon. Right. I know this from a very, 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 very reliable source. After he's done working on the whole Willow prequel or sequel show and like one more movie, he's going to retire. So and I doubt the last movie he makes is going to be a Star Wars movie.
Do you know who Ron Howard's neighbor used to be?
Not offhand.
Vince McMahon. The
Vince
WWE.
McMahon.
Yeah. There's a
I'm not
famous
surprised.
there's a famous documentary that got made called Beyond the Mat, and everyone wondered how it got made because it has all this behind the scenes footage and WWF footage and all this shit in it. And it turns out that Ron Howard is tangentially involved in the project, and he's neighbors with Vince McMahon. So that's full circle. By the way, did you hear that WWE is considered an essential government or business, and they're allowed to stay open per request? Yeah, they beat the government again.
Really? I seen something they were fighting for it. But
Well, the McMahon's no Trump.
Yeah.
You know.
everybody in the chat, Ron Howard's so very, very, very tired.
But no, the Filoni stuff. I wanted to really focus on this tonight because a lot of people have always put him as this like the great savior, the one that's going to really bring balance to Star Wars and all this stuff. And I'm like, look, I like I said a moment ago, the Clone Wars is a good show. I really enjoyed it. He clearly likes Star Wars. He gets it. But I mean, even here he's being quoted. And if the guy is just so malleable that he buys into the whole, it's about the matriarchy of Star Wars and this female-centric franchise, which it never has been, all of a sudden we're going to switch. I think it's another thing that really upset a lot of the fans is the old bait and switch. You come in expecting one thing, you're subverted, your expectations are subverted, and then you're angry. And then it's not enough. Like before, like with Daisy Ridley, which we'll talk about, and I want everyone to stick around for that one because that one's the most telling article, and it's just a fucking sentence. But what it does is it shows us that all of us in the fandom menace and people in general, the dissenters of Star Wars aren't the small vocal minority that we've always been told. They tell you that to dehumanize you, to break your spirit, to say, hey, shut up, it doesn't matter, just accept it. That everybody out there wants us to be treated like Dana Schwartz would treat you, just to block your opinion and go on and try to fix it in their own stilted image. And it isn't working. So I wanted to talk about that one. But this one was always important to me because I mean, a lot of people, they're always excited about Star Wars. It used to be, hey, how would you rewrite The Last Jedi? And then after, The Rise of Skywalker came out, it's been a lot of, who do you think's going to save Star Wars? And I know a lot of people say it's not worth saving, let it go. And a lot of people think it's Dave Filoni. And I never fully bought into the Filoni thing. And it saddens me, though, because I wanted to be wrong. I wanted it to be somebody that just got it and loved it. And it's somebody that just is playing the game. And you can't fault him for it. It doesn't make him a shill. It doesn't make him all these things. He's just not what we all thought. Now, if I heard Jon Favreau say this shit, I'd be heartbroken.
He's a creative in a very prejudiced environment that has a singular direction in the way that they want to present these entertainment properties, the way that they want to keep them going. And so if you want to keep working, you've got to espouse the right ideology. That's how we get people writing books like Dana Schwartz.
Yeah. Oh man. She I don't even know why we talk about her. What has she made yet? Nothing. We'll find out one day.
Gotham High. Oh my God, you're such a bigot. Gay Uncle Asian Alfred.
She didn't do Gotham High. That was some other lady.
Who was Dana? Dana didn't do Gotham High?
No, she's doing She-Hulk.
Oh, she's doing She-Hulk. That's right. I'm sorry. I was thinking of the other lady. God, I'm messing up all over the place. Yeah. I don't know. Anybody looking forward to She-Hulk?
No.
No? Really?
Not really.
Well, even anybody who's a fan of it, they know what's bound to happen. I mean, as far as I know, the comic book has drove all fans away anyway.
Yeah,
so.
not with her writing it. No, I don't want some little white girl who says we need to burn all books from white guys.
Wait, she says that?
Yeah, she's like, oh, we need to burn all books from white dudes, and
yeah.
Boy, that sounds very. I'm not going to say the word, but
so we need to burn like
Fonzieistic.
Yeah,
it's progressive, Tom. Stop.
They want to stop our free speech. They want us to burn books.
Fahrenheit 451. Anyone?
Yeah. Well, we have to burn that book because it was written by Ray Bradbury. He was white, so
no.
Guy Montag, we're just gonna burn him too. Fucking, he's a white dude. Nobody cares. If we took Dana Schwartz's approach and we burn every book written by a white dude, let's see, we'd burn every Tom Clancy book. We'd burn all the. Oh my God, we'd burn the Lord of the Rings.
Wouldn't that consist of her contract as well?
Pretty much, I'm sure her contract is signed by a white dude. Hey, I guess, if we have to sacrifice every book to get this chick out of a job, I guess it's worth it.
I was just thinking. I mean,
I'm okay with it now, I suppose.
Yeah, we know who burned books. I didn't want to say the name, so I don't know how we should be having people say it in the chat either.
No, you can't say it. Definitely don't say it. It's YouTube poison.
You know who burned the books? The bad guys from Indiana Jones and the Last
That's
Crusade.
right.
There we go. Yep.
Those
That's a
fuckers.
crazy- Oh, speaking of that movie, we did a live commentary for that a couple weeks ago, folks. This Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to do a drunk commentary for Terminator Dark Fate. If you know the channel, you know that Dion loves the movie, and we've been making fun of it. We're going to be playing a drinking game. We'll be taking shots for SJW moments and all this other dumb shit.
Oh,
I
so-
actually bought that stupid thing. I know I'm horrible.
You're the fucking worst.
I'm a fucking completist.
Oh, my God.
Hey, at least I never bought Ghostbusters 2016. Give me that much credit.
Rob never even watched the fucking thing. And he
I got
has
through 3/4 of it. It was really bad.
it was.
It was a steel book and it's 4K, so
I'm not. I won't judge you. You will not be removed from the High Council, but come
Judge him.
on.
Judge him.
I bought it so I could make fun of Arnold Schwarzenegger. I know I'm part of the problem, Dr. Coffinail. Shut up.
I didn't buy it.
At least I'm buying like physical media though.
I might not have even paid to see it in the theater.
Shh.
For all you know, I could have theater hopped.
Mecca is
Don't
not
judge
a
me.
good example. Don't listen to her.
Don't you judge me. What difference is it if I bought it for myself or I bought one and I sent it?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You bought 2?
No, I didn't. I was
Oh,
gonna say.
thank God.
If I did, what's the
Well,
difference?
no, that's for like Disney Plus. I've had people get on my ass about Disney Plus too because Tom pays for the subscription to Disney Plus because I only watched it for Mandalorian, so we could talk about it on the show.
Yeah, I'm a
Well-
dumbass and paid for a whole year.
I mean, there's good stuff on Disney Plus if you have kids. You know, I mean,
Don't or care about cartoons or Disney or yeah. There's just nothing on there for me, so there's no reason for me to pay for a streaming service.
got the X-Men 90s series, man.
No reason for me to
X-Men
pay for a
cartoon.
streaming service I'm never gonna watch for any reason. So I'm never gonna watch that.
The
I
only
guarantee
problem,
you, I'm never gonna watch the X-Men '90s animated series.
the only problem with that is they put up versions of these shows that are different from the home media releases. So when X-Men first came out, they had these frames that say cut frame in the middle of the episodes, and they're like the Simpsons are all formatted incorrectly. Like I'm not gonna come up with a conspiracy that Disney knew what was gonna go on, but they had to launch Disney Plus the way they did, and they rushed to it. It's clear that they rushed through Disney Plus's launch because obviously you're like, oh, we're coming in with all this great content, and it's like not all there. Shit's on license for other companies like George of the Jungle, a movie I really enjoy. Hey, you want to watch George of the Jungle on Disney Plus at launch? Sorry, this title is available May 2020. There's a Pixar documentary that's available like May 2021 or some dumb shit like that. It's like, who's gonna care at this point? Like, why even tell me that the thing's coming in 2 years, a year, whatever? Like, it was a weird launch. Mecca, I'm with you. We have the free year. When the free year's up, I don't think I'll be keeping it because I can only watch these cartoons so much before I'm just like, yes, I've seen every episode of the X-Men 50 times. So.
Right, but again, there you go. Iger gets celebrated for launching Disney Plus, and then Chapek comes in, and if it does bad, there's the guy to blame it on. You know, that's the way I look at it. As far as Bob Chapek and Bob Iger in this situation, you know, it's just another
Disney
example.
Plus was a big fucking bait and switch.
It was, yeah.
I mean, that was my problem with it. I was thought like, some of the stuff you guys are talking about and some of the other stuff they haven't released in years that I was going to be able to watch. A lot of the cartoons and stuff, like not just the TV shows, but like the old shorts that used to be before movies and stuff. And they've got a scattered handful on there, but there's hardly anything on there. And most of the movies and crap I already have.
Right. I don't think it was ready. I think it was rushed.
It was. It was definitely rushed. They were trying to beat HBO Max to the punch. And it doesn't matter. As far as everything going on right now, the only thing that good came out of this for Disney in their respect, I guess, is that Disney Plus is a fucking hit. They have competitive numbers now with Netflix, so.
Yeah, I think I saw, was it 50 million subscribers?
Yeah.
Well, the only question is, though, how do we dictate who's a subscriber? Like, by paying subscriber or what? Because remember, like, Verizon gave out all those free subscriptions.
Yeah, but Netflix has the same kind of deals, too.
Mm-hmm. Well, they did just announce today the whole Peacock thing is releasing, too.
I ain't too worried about Peacock. Peacock...
They're not going to be shit. They're going to have to incorporate with other stuff.
That's the one thing with like NBC is there another one like the rest of them. A lot of their TV stuff is all over the damn place because it's owned by different companies.
Mm-hmm.
And then the movie side of things, they've got Universal, which does have some big hits. but they don't have a deep a catalog as like Warner Brothers or Disney.
Right. The streaming wars are over before they even began. I mean,
to a point, yeah. Who's gonna probably come out above this? Netflix, Disney, and Amazon, like we've been saying for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe HBO Max will survive too.
Maybe. I'm interested to see where the DC streaming service goes.
Well, that's probably what they'll have to do over on HBO Max is they'll have to pull everything together, including the DC stuff, and yeah, because once you put everything together, Warner is the only one who really has enough to compete with Disney as far as actual properties.
But DC has stuff, but not enough stuff to hold a streaming service.
Well, not just DC, but Warner Brothers has the Looney Tunes. They have, over 100 years worth of films. They have a lot of the other big franchises, out there. So, I mean, they got the Harry Potter movies and all that kind of crap.
Mm-hmm.
So
I keep forgetting that has a huge pull with the next generation of kids.
Yeah, that's how much you want to bet they're gonna use that as a big push for HBO Max is that you'll be able to watch all the Harry Potter movies and shit on there.
Well, like at the at LAX, when you go through the Universal, there's like a Universal ad most of the time on this like walkway, and it's giant. It's Harry Potter shit. I'm just thinking to myself, those movies haven't been out in what, 8 years, 10 years? When was the last Harry Potter movie?
Well, they do the newer ones now. They got those prequels, the Fantastic Beasts stuff.
Dude, that's how far removed I am from this shit. It's like, I don't even.
Well, I never even got into Harry Potter. Yeah, but that was the thing where Warner Brothers, which is weird because they have their own parks, but I don't know how the deal happened with Universal that they got the Harry Potter deal. But
well, I will say I went to Universal one time post Harry Potter World, and the butterbeer's delicious.
All I say is fuck that
Nice.
ride because it replaced Back to the Future, and I never got to see it.
I thankfully got to ride the Back to the Future ride multiple times, so that is a notch on my belt that I'm very proud of.
No, I've never been out there. The main three I wanted to be on, of course, were Back to the Future, Jaws, and King Kong. So as far as I know, all three have changed except for Jaws is the only one I think that if they still have it was still pretty much the same, but I thought they replaced it, so I'm not even sure if they have it anymore.
At the one out here, they have Jaws. It's part of the Universal Studios Backlot Tour. But the one in Florida, which had the actual Jaws ride,
right?
I think, dude, the day I went to ride it as a kid, they had mechanical issues and no shark appeared. Like the water would spray up. Like, oh my god, it's a shark! And there's no shark. And so they gave us a ticket.
Like the movie,
pretty much. It was, Bruce was alive.
Fuck it, I'm not going on today.
Shark still looks fake. Ugh.
Yeah, good Back to the Future.
See, they should have replaced it with a hologram.
Max Spielberg was directing Jaws 19. Could you imagine if they had 19 Jaws by the year 2015?
I mean, how many remakes of Robin Hood do we have?
How many have confused your genitals?
Yeah.
Zero.
Just Kevin Costner, well, and Carrie Elwes and Men in Tights, but
wasn't it Amy Yazbek played Maid Marian in that movie?
yes,
She's good.
Mhm. Yes,
I like
she
her.
is.
she was married to
John Ritter.
John Ritter.
Yeah.
She was in both Problem Child 1
And
and
most people
Yep.
don't realize that because the parts she plays are so different that they
She's
don't realize
really
it's the same fucking actress. Yeah.
It took me years to realize that.
I love the Problem Child movies. Unapologetically, I don't give a shit.
They're
The
good.
first two are great.
I liked them too.
Yeah, I don't count the rest of them after the first two.
No, there's 2 Problem Child.
They even did an animated series, I think, or some shit that was horrible.
Nothing's weirder than the Dumb and Dumber cartoon.
There was a Dumb and Dumber cartoon?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, it was out. It's if you watch the movie on videotape, there's an ad for it. But I remember catching it. I think it was on like CBS or something.
ABC.
It's you can watch it on Amazon Prime. If you're
It's
really
pretty bad.
Yeah, I won't make the. It's wow. It's
You're
They
not
had-
recommending it then.
They had the 3 Jim Carrey, they had, how he had Dumb and Dumber, well, Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber, and Mask and Dumb and Dumber all come out in a row in that year.
Mhm.
yeah.
So the series come out like the next year. The only one of those series that had the likeness rights to Jim Carrey, though, was Ace Ventura.
Huh. So what did they change the characters vastly?
Well, he just looks like a weird cartoon in Dumb and Dumber, and then the Mask, he's just kind of generic looking. But
That
the
cartoon was pretty good though. The Mask.
The Mask wasn't bad. Ace Ventura was probably, I don't know if I'd say some of Ace Ventura's were probably some of the better because I think that translated the best. Plus, they had what's his face? Who's Max Headroom doing the voice, and he actually kind of sounds.
Oh, Matt Fowler.
Yeah, he
No,
actually
Matt
feels
Frewer. Matt Frewer.
Frewer, yeah.
I forgot the Ace Ventura cartoon was a thing until I looked it up. Yes, I remember it now.
It started as a Christmas special, just like The Simpsons, but yeah.
All the shit I used to watch as a kid.
We're
The
old
90s.
now. Yeah, we're old
The
now.
Beetlejuice cartoon is pretty good. WCW.
That's what I used to watch over the
Yeah.
movie. Oh yeah, and the Jackie cartoon. That was amazing. I used to love Jackie Chan Adventures. So hold on. So folks, with the Dave Filoni stuff, like we said, it was interesting, maybe not in the best of ways, to see how he feels about the creative process. And like I said, this is directly from a quote from the book, The Art of the Rise of Skywalker. This isn't hearsay. You guys can check it out. So now, there's a little more Dave Filoni stuff before we move into my favorite topic of this week, Daisy Ridley. And where is the love gone for Star Wars? Well, Daisy, let me tell you. Out the fucking window.
The other one, where she's like, this is Luke again. This is our real Luke, or whatever it was.
All she had to do is keep her mouth shut. She's out of the loop now.
Mhm.
She's out of the fire. All she had to do is say, "Look, I didn't write the shit." No, she had to turn around and attack the fans. Why did she have to go full fucking Ryan
She's
Johnson?
done that back and forth so many times, though. She's kind of, in my opinion, she seems like an airhead where she just kind of recites back. She's very easily led by the questionnaires, but she's very easily prompted.
My question is Daisy Ridley attacking the entire fandom or just a segment? I mean, as fractured as we all are. That's kind of what I read out of the article or the quotes that she'd said.
Well, the thing I got from her, and fuck it, we'll just jump into it now. We can talk about the Clone Wars in a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. If the flow of the conversation is natural and it goes to the next topic, we'll just go. We can always come back. Everyone's still here. But no, the thing I wanted to make at this point is when this came out, what I took away from it, to jump off your point, was that they're aware of just the audience's apathy towards Star Wars. There's this feeling of, oh my God, somebody pulled pulled the cork out and it's deflating. The balloon's deflating. There's just not any air left in this thing. There's no life left in it. It's not this viable property. I think the way these articles come out, this news and quotation comes out, it's the way of saying like, hey, we acknowledge this, and hopefully people just kind of soften their stance and just move forward and forgive Star Wars down the road when they try to relaunch it, because they will never ever be able to aggressively pull at the nostalgia of Star Wars ever again, because no one's going to be nostalgic for this stuff, and the main principal cast will have passed away by the time they try to push something new with Star Wars.
Well, I mean, they could tug at the heartstrings of the Raylos. Tease them with that. That's about all they got left, really, at this point.
The Raylos effing hate Star Wars now.
Well, yeah, they do, but if they were going to try and tug at anybody's heartstrings, wouldn't it be that? Wouldn't it be like, okay, look, we're going to give you what you didn't get? Because that is the only fandom that's I don't know who's left, to be honest with you. I don't talk to Raylos, so who's left?
How old is Daisy Ridley? Like 20?
She's like 29, I think. She's younger
Yeah,
than
she's
I am.
really that old?
Yeah, I'll look her up.
I still don't see where she has a frame of reference on life to be able to even fucking comment on any of this shit.
Turned 28 a couple of days ago. Here's the thing about Daisy Ridley. She is a very wealthy, privileged young woman. Her family, I believe, I think somebody in her family side are lords. They're like very well-to-do. They're upper class British sort of. They're not royalty, but they're right under there. So
The children of dukes.
I don't think she pays a lot of attention to what she's being asked. I don't think she's that. I don't know. I don't believe she's super mean-spirited about it, like a Brie Larson or somebody. That's just kind of my opinion of her. She just kind of seems like she goes along with whatever people prompt her to say. Because a week ago, she also said that Luke Skywalker felt like he was the real Luke Skywalker in Episode 9 versus The Last Jedi, where he felt like Jake.
And she's the one who said she never saw the movies before this, right?
I think so. I believe so.
Okay, well, there you go. You get mixed messages, because if she's saying that Luke in 9 felt more like Luke, and then she's saying that, talking about the fandom, a week later or so, or however much later, who was she talking about? Because the people who are really nasty, the people who were very nasty to her, I mean, were the Raylos. the SJWs, the people that are really nasty about the Rise of Skywalker and their reaction to it. I mean, yeah, there was a ton of heat, obviously, the Fandom Menace, hail the Fandom Menace, after The Last Jedi, but I don't really remember any one of us going after any of them as actors, any of the actors themselves. We had problems with the creative decisions. Meanwhile, on the other side, you had people stalking Adam Driver and Daisy. I mean, they've been crazy for years now. So that's why I bring up the question: is it kind of our side that she's talking about? Is it everybody? That's where I have it.
Here's the thing you got to remember, though, Steven, is that when they talk to her, she's not even on social media. Even when she was on social media, she probably really wasn't on social media. She had somebody doing it for her, I bet. And even then, that goes with the whole thing, like I was saying earlier about like Butters when he was, the buffer between the bad comments and Cartman. Right. It's the same kind of thing here. Do you really think that they're going to sit there and tell her that the people are crazy are the ones that are on the quote unquote right side of the politics and shit in this situation? Oh, fuck no. They tell her she's under the same impression that everybody else is that Kelly Marie Tran got bullied off of social media. And just like everybody believed the narrative that she got bullied off of social media until she finally just said, oh, no, I just don't have time for it. Because nobody started really bullying Daisy until the whole Raylo thing. You're right. And it was the Raylos that bullied her. Yeah. As far as us, we just said that the character was a Mary Sue. I don't ever once remember anybody going after Daisy.
No, and they were going after John Boyega. They were going after everybody. And he's like, they're making Instagram mashup videos where he's like swatting away their comments and shit. So yeah, those are the actual ones. But
I know they do this because that's what they told Ron Howard.
Yes. Yeah. And this is another thing that we have established right when Rise of Skywalker came out. They said, oh, you guys are all just a bunch of toxic fans because you did this and now you did this. I was like, wait. We didn't do that. These other people did that who actually liked The Last Jedi did this thing now. So you're just lumping us all together. Anybody who criticizes anything at all. And this is just the further separation of the entertainment industry and the creatives and the actors and everybody with the fans. Because like you said, Ron Howard doesn't have time to sit there on social media and look and see what we say. But
no, he was under the impression that there was an active
boycott
against Solo. Mm-hmm. And that the fans were against him.
Some people called it a boycott. Some people just didn't want to go because of The Last Jedi. I mean, and these people are in an echo chamber. I'm sure they're getting fed the same thing.
Well, we tried to push the message back to him. Like, oh, no. We tried to push the message back that the fans didn't blame him personally for anything. Mm-hmm. Nobody was boycotting him. And all the animosity had to do with The Last Jedi. And that nobody asked for a Solo movie in the first place.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah. You look at John Boyega, his reaction back, the "we don't care" comment about when the idea of a boycott came up to him. He's like, "We don't care." You look at the actors at that time. He is in a new position, right? He's in the Star Wars saga. Basically given prestigious fame for at least that role for the rest of his life, just like every other actor that's been in Star Wars, for good or for bad. And all these actors are basically given this role of a lifetime, and then they get bad scripts, they get bad, it's just the whole story was garbage. It's not their fault. Nobody blames them. But when you've got all this heat from all different directions and living in the echo chamber, the hyperbolic echo chamber, especially that they live in, you're going to get defensive of your friends. You're going to get a warped view of what's going on. And you're right. She probably doesn't go on social media. So, but I would hope that at least at this point, months later, she has traversed some social media and understands that there are many different facets to this debate. And so that, I mean, I'm just guessing on the side of reason that she has, which again brings up the question of, is she talking about everybody? Because we don't, she went through harassment, direct harassment. So did Adam's wife. I mean, and then you see the reaction of John Boyega on social media after the movie came out, the kind of the flies on Twitter that he was swatting down. He
also said, I didn't know you guys felt this way, because the Fandom Menace gave him an overwhelming amount of support on social media.
Right.
And saying, yes, we wanted to see your character. We wanted to see a stormtrooper turn Jedi. We wanted to see you. You're entertaining. You're a badass. You're fun and awesome. We want to see you. We're not a bunch of racist sexists. We like John Boyega. They did fuck all.
Yeah, I love Attack the Block.
Yeah. Look, I like John Boyega too. I like his attitude. And I'll tell you what, one of the things that The reason that I bring this up is because if he knows that, then maybe they know. Look at Kelly Marie Tran. The media has always spun things the way they want to, all the way back to Ahmed Best. Ahmed, he was harassed by the media, not so much the fans. The people didn't like Jar Jar Binks, had no problem with Ahmed, but the media went after him. They did the same thing with young Anakin, Jake Lloyd. And so I don't trust the media when they present information. I don't know if these quotes were taken out of context.
Well, even Jake Lloyd they took out of context because it was a lot of that was the kids he was going to school with, so it was his own peers. It wasn't necessarily Star Wars fans. Like, you go read a media thing, they'll have you believing that a 30-year-old dude and come up to him all the time and going, "You're a fucking asshole because you ruined Anakin." Like, what 30-year-old really is going to do that?
Right.
Well, even Boyega said, "Don't believe the media. Don't believe anything they say." That's just absolutely not true. This is not what I said. This is so taken out of context. I know what happened here.
Right. I never blamed Jake Lloyd for that movie or Ahmed Best.
The bullying of Kelly Marie Tran narrative that we all know is bullshit and has been pushed for so long. And she even came out with an op-ed as an answer to that and didn't answer that exactly. She did, she was talking about racism in Hollywood, racism in California, and things that she went through. She didn't talk about the fandom once, but what did the media do? They spun it as Kelly Marie Tran answers speaks out right against her being bullied, and she had nothing to do with that. So when the media presents to me quotes from these actors, especially highly contentious roles that have been played in the last few years, I don't trust the narrative that's being given to me. I'd like to see the whole conversation. So again, it goes back to, who is she talking about? Is she talking about the entire fandom, or is she just talking about, the crazy ones?
So I'm going to pull up the quote for everyone so they can get the context of it. But it was funny that you brought up Ahmed Best, because I was actually reading how he's kind of back roughly in the news. It was weird. The other day on Twitter, somebody's like, "You should interview Ahmed Best. He did some YouTube channel." I'm thinking, all right, sure, he could come on the channel if he really wants to. But I'm thinking to myself, what's the deal with Ahmed Best? And I'm reading some of his quotes and his remarks. And it's funny how they play the victim cards with Kelly Marie Tran and Daisy Ridley, but Ahmed Best and Jake Lloyd really got the shit end of the stick. And because it's not cool to go back and try to talk about how they were wronged, because it's so hip to do the, we talk about this form of abuse and this, that, and the other with these women. We don't really talk about these other dudes whose entire lives and careers were altered from this. And like you said, it was the media that did it. It was other kids that bullied. But for some reason, they try to retroactively blame Fandom Menace for that too. It's like, yo, in 1999, I was the first person that was, making these types of videos in 2015. Okay. So we weren't doing it in 1999. I've never met Jake Lloyd. I haven't gone to his school and made fun of him. We've never met any of these Star Wars.
Yeah. In 1999, we sat there for 5 hours waiting to watch the episode 1 trailer because it took that long to download.
But on a technical note, there was a Fandom Menace before us in early 2000. That was a response to the Phantom Menace. But that's a completely different thing.
I'm part of that thing.
I'm now looking up all these Daisy Ridley as the Joker memes. I'm having way too much fun.
Dr. Coffenell said she can eat a corn cob with no problem. Hail Dr. Coffenell.
Can't stop her. She's a Jedi from Jakku.
Jedi from Jakku.
Oh, shit.
There we go. Yeah. Uh-oh.
It's the
eyes, too happy,
man.
It's the eyes, though.
So now, let's see the Daisy Ridley quote. Star Wars Daisy Ridley responds to Rise of Skywalker reaction. Where's the love gone? The final film of the Skywalker saga left fans deeply divided. Daisy Ridley has responded to the divisive fan reaction to the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. The actress portrayed Rey in the most recent trilogy of the sci-fi saga, a young woman abandoned by her parents on a desert planet who goes on to become a powerful Jedi Knight. While featuring as a guest on Dragcast, a podcast hosted by drag queen Nina West, she talked about dealing with the intense fan reaction to the latest chapter in the series. Now, before we read that, I find it interesting how they act like there's this intense fan reaction to the last film, when, as a fan who's been on the forefront of this stuff with everybody, it feels like this film had less of a response and less of a reaction. I mean, it limped to $1 billion. The Last Jedi was the one that had the big negative impact, the response, but everyone just acts like that one didn't really. It was just a small vocal minority. So I find it weird that they're now taking this stance and acknowledging it. What do you guys think?
I'd actually like to ask you, Jeff, because you've been on the forefront of this since way before anybody else. When you called out The Force Awakens, what has it been like for you, from your reaction to The Force Awakens, which you didn't like, all the way to now?
Well, I feel like I was the first. It's like I always use I use the example. It's like the sunglasses from They Live. I can see through the bullshit, and you have other people out there that saw through it. Michael from Retro Blasting was one of those people. But it's like you watch this movie and you're like, I get what they're doing, and I don't like it. And everyone's just high on the nostalgia. And so basically, what it is, it's like I was aware of it, and then everyone else kind of put on the glasses, and we all became aware of it together. And it's taken years, but now everyone's just kind of on the same page. Like, yeah. And it's not like I'm looking for validation. I'm not looking to be told I was right all along. It's just I was just waiting for other people to see it, and they eventually have, and I'm like, cool. So I wasn't crazy the whole time, because I do remember going into my local comic shop, first free comic book day post episode 7. So this would have been 2016. I was riding high on Civil War, but everyone wanted to talk about Star Wars for some reason, and everyone wanted to say how great it was. I'm like, it wasn't great. It was a rehash, this, that, and the other. And everyone's like, you're fucking crazy. No. And I just remember people thinking I was the only one like that. So that's really my response to it. It's just I've been waiting for people to get here, and now everyone's here, and we're just like, well, it's not that great. Let's just move to something else.
Right.
What about you, though? What were your thoughts back in 2015 when you first saw Force Awakens?
When I first saw The Force Awakens, I enjoyed it. I had the nostalgia glasses on. I did have questions. Why didn't I see my old characters in the cockpit of the Falcon again? Why was the Falcon on Jakku? How can she just use Force powers, laissez-faire? Why did Han just die? I had a few questions, but actually I looked forward to what I saw as the natural progression of the story, which was the Jedi power couple of Finn and Rey. And I thought in number 2, we would see Jedi Master Luke Skywalker and the new Jedi Academy. And, then we would get an explanation for her, and Finn would begin to realize that he had Force power. And that way, by the third movie in the trilogy, he'd be, at least an apprentice of some kind. So that's how I felt about The Force Awakens. I looked forward to explanations happily with the glasses on.
Say that again. The very last part. Sorry.
Oh, I looked forward to see what was going to happen in The Last Jedi with the nostalgia glasses on.
Now, the thing that you talked about looking forward, I love how the main criticism for years was you got to see the whole trilogy. It's going to play out, and now it's played out, and it's just everyone's like, well, shit, I don't know what to say to you now.
Right. Well, I mean, obviously I was disappointed. I'm always, admittedly, I'm a little more a Star Trek fan than a Star Wars fan. So when I had Discovery basically kick me in the nuts, I had The Last Jedi knock me out. It was like a double punch for me in that year. Because once I got the Klingorks, oh girl, I was so upset at the Star Trek. I hadn't gotten Star Trek since 2005. I was ready for some more Star Trek. And then when I got the Klingorks, I was very upset, and it was just horrible and not anything that I could recognize. And so I was looking forward to The Last Jedi. My son and I had been looking up videos. I really didn't even go on YouTube before the Fandom Menace, and we were looking up the fan theories, videos. That probably seen Mike Zero a few times in that year. You just leading up to The Last Jedi, and then I went to go see it, and it was like a gut punch. It was a knockout blow. It was just like, how was this allowed to be created? It made The Force Awakens unwatchable. I used to watch The Force Awakens every single month leading up to Episode 8, and now I haven't watched it since. I just can't. There's no point. Sorry.
I don't apologize at all. And by the way, folks, Salsa Shark makes an excellent point. How the stream wasn't in the feed; they had to come to the channel to see it. So if you you watch the High Council, remember every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the channel, and we have our live show Mondays and Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard, and the podcast at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. So for those out there that YouTube may be ghosting us or doing this weird shit, for now. Just know that we're always going to be here, and come find us on every form of social media, and we'll make sure that you guys know that we're about to go live. So I just want to address that. But it took me 6 months anyway to get back to Star Wars after that movie. And let me just get back into the Daisy Ridley thing, because I want to keep the people waiting. So Daisy Ridley goes on to say, it changed film by film, honestly, 98%. It's so amazing, she said. The last film, it was really tricky. January was not that nice. It was weird. I felt like all of this love that we had been shown for the first time around, I was like, where is that love gone? Well, it's very obvious where the love's gone. I mean, I'm going to lay it out, but Mecca, where do you think the love's gone?
I think it went out of fashion, like all the Twilight fans are trying to appeal to. I don't know. The answer is nerds. That's usually
nerds.
It's a meme on my thing where I'm like, when I don't know exactly what the answer would be, I just bring up the Discovery cast singing. The answer is nerds, because it's terrible and cringe.
Now, Tom, what did you think about where do you think the love has gone?
Down the fucking toilet.
What
I
about
mean,
you? Okay, go on.
Well, I was just gonna say, I mean, we're here to this day because of the reason why, and like we were saying, I think it was on the last show when the hashtag "Thank You Ryan Johnson" was going on or whatever. You know, we all thanked Ryan Johnson pretty much for the same thing, and that was bringing this community together. So, you know, I mean, The Force Awakens, like Steven said, I mean, I didn't have as much of a problem with the movie outside of a few things until, you know, it didn't pay off evidently, or the payoff we got was cheap and shitty. So
It was
that's
cheap.
where the love's gone. Yeah.
Author Stephen Walton, where do you think the love's gone?
Where do I think the love gone? Well, I think the love has been gone. I think it went when EU fans, when their books were thrown out and told they didn't exist anymore later in the future, were making billboards to save the expanded universe, and they were getting shit on by people like Brian Young from StarWars.com. I think the love went when fans were being told that their opinions didn't matter, that they were invalid. Not only that, but they were racist, sexist, misogynist, blah, 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 because they didn't agree with the creative decisions made in Star Wars. I think the love went when the creatives, the repurposers of these stolen franchises attempted to use these franchises as a platform to push socio-political ideology, extremism that nobody wanted, garbage that nobody wanted injected into these franchises, were then brought to us, forced upon us, and we were shamed if we did not consume it. The love went when you let someone like Ryan Johnson, who obviously was not a Star Wars fan, who had some kind of a bone to pick with other nerds and people in Star Wars, created a cinematic middle finger, a defecation on screen, and then allowed his fans and himself to berate us for how long? Oh, still to this day. And then they tried to serve us some kind of a mock-up where they attempted to pander to the original, the legacy fandom, as well as these weirdos who like get turned on by cartoon foxes, and nobody was happy. Nobody's been satisfied. That's where the love went. The love went with every insult, with every dejected fan, with every person who was told that because he or she loved something for decades, lived and bled it, bought the products, read the books, played the games, that every one of those people were not worthy of the franchise. They were not welcome as consumers. That is where the love went.
Yeah. Well, it's ironic because I did a editorial about 3 years ago now where I compared what was going on at that time with Star Wars to breaking up with somebody. Like, you know, you had this long relationship with somebody through the prequels, and then it was done and it was over with. You know, you had your sweet goodbye. It was what it was. You know, it was always there, but it wasn't totally destroyed. And then The Force Awakens was like, oh, this is starting back up. This old flame of mine is coming back and strong, because after that first trailer, I don't think there was hardly any Star Wars fan on the face of this earth that just wasn't like, yeah, you know. But then after we saw the movie and then The Last Jedi, yeah, it was like breaking up. I didn't want to see Star Wars for a while. I didn't want to hear Star Wars for a while. I don't want to hear any of that shit anymore. I've gotten to the point where, outside of just talking about it with you guys, I totally ignore Star Wars for the most part.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I barely even cover it on my channel. Like, I've got a few things that I'll send myself links for, like, oh, I should do this Daisy Ridley video, I should do that. But then I'm like, I just don't care about Star Wars anymore after all this bullshit, after being called every name under the sun, after, you know, Pablo Hidalgo tweeting out something that says Mecha Troll Face, and that snowballing into somebody from Star Trek's getting a hold of that, and I guess, or getting a hold of something and threatening to knock my viewers' teeth out. It's like, I just don't fucking care about these franchises anymore. I think at least with Star Trek, I kind of have that personal vendetta against it. With this shit, I'm like, you know what, fuck Star Wars anymore if they're gonna be pulling this shit on us, you know.
Well, it's like dealing with an abusive relationship, just like Tom was saying. You're dealing with an abusive spouse in this relationship who has continued to beat you and berate you and tell you that your opinion doesn't matter and you're going to take it and you're going to like it. And customers do not want to be treated like that. The idea of the customer is right is thrown out the window, especially when it comes to these ideologues. So I like Mecca. I'm heartbroken. I'm so heartbroken by it that it's hard for me to want to check out new science fiction or fantasy media. I've gone back to other types. I'm binge watching other types of shows. People have asked me, why don't you watch The Expanse? I don't want my heart broke. I don't know if that's good, even though I'm being told it is.
And that's what I compared it to use one of their terms. I compared it to a toxic relationship.
Well, they're calling us toxical and all this, and then they're like, "Oh, you're such entitled to have a say in these characters," and I'm like, "Okay, so I'm entitled to have my husband not cheat on me with new fans, and then still want to come home and fuck me because I'm the
And
one."
berate you while they're at it.
Yeah, and berate me for it by calling me every name under the sun and demanding I, pay for his lazy ass to beat me. It's like, sorry, Star Wars, I'm not going to anymore.
Star Wars beat us, told everybody that we were the problem, and then took a dump in our bed.
So I was just gonna say, so Star Wars is Amber Heard now.
Ouch! Oh,
Like, I'm sorry, Star Wars, you're not
you
entitled.
fucking lied, bitch.
hey Tom, were you in the chat on Thursday night? Did you hear what we were talking about with Amber Heard on the show?
I bopped in and out. Which part?
We had a pretty deep dive on Amber Heard and her abusive relationship and how it sets a dangerous precedent. I know we always tell people go back and check out this content and that content, but folks, if you want to listen to one of the podcasts we've ever done, I highly recommend episode 214, which was last Thursday. We talk about Ezra Miller and we talk about Amber Heard.
Oh, great.
And we go into details about, the Ezra Miller stuff a lot lighter than the Amber Heard stuff. Because Amber Heard,
you should ship them fuckers.
Yes.
Sorry.
At least we know if she hits him or tries to cut his finger off, he'll fucking choke her.
Yeah. Yes, it's Amber Turd. I apologize for getting her name incorrect.
Amber Turd.
I did not mean to interrupt you there, Jeff, but I had to get that out there.
No, you're good. I believe
I
me.
know.
It's a freeform show. It's
Ezra Heard, yes, we're shipping him already. That's a healthy relationship.
Well, hey, she's bisexual and he likes to wear a dress. Go.
And so is he. So what's the fucking difference? It'll be fucking everybody.
They'll make really weird children.
Yes, no doubt.
Oh God, somebody make sure they can't.
I don't know. I mean, anyway. So yes, to just follow up on the closing of this Daisy Ridley stuff, they did make it out to be like she was the victim. The social media stuff she played into this whole. She talks about how everyone is entitled not to like something, but it feels like it's changed slightly. I think in general that's because of social media or what have you. If I went to a film and I didn't like it, I just wouldn't tweet about it. Well, Daisy, I don't tweet about it. We just talk about it. It's just another form of communication. To me, when she says this about, I just don't tweet about it. Well, that's like censoring somebody. We complain about Disney censoring Splash or these other things with the Clone Wars. They've edited it out. But, taking away someone's free speech, your ability to discuss, express an opinion being taken away, that's not cool. Yelp. What the fuck is a Yelp review? Yelp is your opinion. It's okay when you want to sit and bitch about, the waiter didn't thank me enough or this or that, or you want to, try to take someone's job or tear down a business over Yelp because you had, you didn't have the best Caesar salad in your life or something. You want to be entitled and catered to. But when we talk about this multi-billion-dollar meal that we're all paying for a small part of, they want to flip the table and act like it's something completely irrelevant or completely insane to expect to have the same freedom to discuss your dissenting opinion or your praise. Like, the Fandom Menace. You could like all the Disney Star Wars stuff, but you want to hear us talk. Cool. Have fun. It's not about this isn't a thought police club. It's like, where if you don't agree with everything we say, you get out. That's not the case whatsoever. But you want.
No, you had more to say. Go ahead.
But they keep treating it like it is, and that's not what we are at all.
Well, I was just going to say, here's the problem with this. You take Star Wars out of the equation, and all Daisy's doing is what actors and creators and artists have done since the beginning of time. Bitch about their critics. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't love them while they love you and hate them while they hate you. It just doesn't work that way, Daisy. And if Rob's in the chat, he'll appreciate me saying and give him credit for this. He brings it up all the time, just like in the old Mel Brooks, the history of the world, with the first artist created the first critic.
Yeah.
It was the same thing. He brings up all the time how there was a riot at some opera back in the 1700s or some shit like that because it was so bad. And come on, vaudeville is built on the fact that you brought rotten fruit in case they sucked. That was part of the game. It was, and you better get out there and put your best game on. Otherwise, you were going home smelling like rotten fucking fruit tonight. That was part of the deal. Imagine these actors going out in that kind of a world where it was like, you know what? If I suck tonight, guess what? I'm getting pelted with garbage and fruit. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, and they bitch about the critics. It's like, come on. We're all critics. We're allowed to critique it because we paid for the shit.
But who has been the most vitrolic in the last 2 years?
That's just it.
You know what I mean?
You can sit there and we can play the istism games all we want, but the problem is, like we brought up at the very beginning of this with the whole Robin Hood thing, the people who point the most fingers, the people who demand the most, people be canceled or shut down or shut up to the point where they're actually talking about burning books. And she's not the only one who has. There's been other people who've talked in similar ways about things like that. It's gotten to a point where it's okay to be racist and an istophobe against white men, and at the same time act in ways that they try to hang names on certain people we're not going to say that rhyme kind of with Fonzie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and well, that's what I'm saying. Like these have been the voices that have been the loudest. We have to admit that small vocal minority. First off, anything that we get labeled, that's what they are. And that small vocal minority, that's them. Those are the Raylos, and those are the weirdos over there being nasty and istophobe, actually being that way. And they have been the loudest. So they have also been the loudest when it comes to criticizing the Rise of Skywalker because they didn't get what they wanted. So they're getting blasted with like both what the fandom menace and people around us that feel like us have been saying for years now. And then you're getting blasted by this vocal minority of people, this loud vocal minority who's been blasting us and supporting toxic people working in Disney Lucasfilm for so long. So who was John Boyega swatting down on Twitter? Those people. These guys have got to be friends, have some kind of line of communication. And even if she's not on social media, I got to question whether or not she's talked to John. Can you believe what's going on? And John's talked to her and said, hey, these are the people I've been swatting down. So again, with media manipulation and with the real toxic ones out there saying some of the most heinous, horrible things. Who is she talking about? I think she's talking about them. I don't think she's talking about us.
Well, that's the problem is, like you just said, Steven,
No, go ahead, brother.
I was just going to say, because that's the thing with the Rise of Skywalkers, they've lumped us in with the other group now. Did you notice that?
Oh, yeah.
Because before it was, we were the vocal minority in quotations when it came to The Last Jedi. Now, when it came to the Rise of Skywalker, yeah, we didn't like it, but we just kind of gave it up afterwards, except for certain aspects of certain things. And then all of a sudden it's the crowd that's pissed. They're lumped in with us now. Well, they're the ones, like you were just pointing out, the ones who all this time have been calling us istophobes, the ones who've been trying to, berate us and call us names online saying just because we don't like Rey, we're sexist. It's like, no, we just don't like her because she's a horribly written character.
Right.
But these are the people now that are pissed, are the ones who were into the Reylo shit, who were into The Last Jedi, and how many freaking Scott Mendelsons have we had now that come out and say it's all your fault?
These are the ones that are bringing up all the crazy stuff, the Finpo stuff. These are the ones that have been still sharing photos of sexual acts going on between these two characters. Like, this is them. That's the toxic group.
It's the unhealthy bullshit. Just the same thing like the whole It and Babadook bullshit. Now, do you remember when It 2 came out, the gay community lost their minds because the two gay characters that got killed in the beginning?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't because it was the gay characters that got killed or whatever, or the one gay character or whatever. It was because the gay community had adopted Pennywise and Babadook and shipped them.
What?
Yes. We tracked it down. Miss Sarcastic Nerd did for a Toxic Femininity episode.
Happy birthday, Miss Sarcastic Nerd.
Yeah, which is actually tomorrow, or in some places it already is. But yeah, she tracked it all down, backtracked it all the way to that crap. So that's where it all spawned from. And it's like, because you idiots decided that you were going to ship these two characters. You can't blame, the filmmakers for following with the book. Maybe you should have read the book before you fucking decided to do this. Just because it wasn't in the 90s version.
It's clown world. Literal clown world.
And these are the same kind of people. It's the same mentality. It's the same shit. It's just like a mother blaming one child because, one kid wants pizza and the other kid wants burgers. And then the kid that wants burgers wasn't happy because mom burnt the hamburger. Well, it's your fault you burnt the hamburger. It's not his fault because he wanted hamburgers, and now she's pissed because both kids are crying. Well, that's not the way it works. You can't make everybody happy all the time.
Damn, Tom, I'm hungry now.
No, I know, right? Well, plus I just had a burger, that's why I was thinking about it. But I mean, that you're right. That one analogy you brought up before is basically what I was saying. This whole thing was since The Last Jedi was we were promised, freaking prime rib, and we paid for prime rib, but we got served hamburger. And then when you say something to the waitress, they're like, "You're just an istophobe because you don't think that's a prime rib," and I know that's a prime rib.
And your server was Kathleen Kennedy, and she climbed into your bed and took a dump.
And then Jason Isaac goes, "Well, you can't bitch to the chef if you don't like it, you know." That's actually a thing that happened. Because he goes, yeah, the idiot had to pick the worst analogy. Because we were getting into him about how he and Anthony Rapp decided to get into it with a couple of fans, including Mecca and I, about Star Trek Discovery. Yeah. And he had the audacity to say, if you don't like your meal, you don't go screaming at the chef, do you? It's like, yeah, you kind of do. Vicariously through the waiter. You tell them that this sucks, take it back and fix it, or you just tell them you're unhappy with the meal. So
or just leave.
Congratulations, you're the waiter, dumbass.
Yeah. Or you just leave and you never go back again.
Hail cold-blooded critic, hail the fandom menace, hail the High Council.
Yeah, folks, hit a 1 in the chat if you agree with the sentiment.
Of course, it was Anthony Rapp's. Let's go. Yeah, I'm not a big Anthony Rapp fan. I mean, I don't hate him, but
he's a little pissy sometimes.
Oh yeah.
What does it mean to be ghosted on a stream?
That's what the shadow ban crap is, I think, if that's what they're talking about.
Yeah, people say we're getting ghosted on air. I don't know what that means.
That's probably what they're talking about. Means we're not showing up in the like when you go to your YouTube and you look to the left and it has all the stuff that you're subscribed to. Yeah, it's not even showing up on mine.
Hail to my brothers and sisters.
Where it shows that you're live, yeah.
Hail to my brothers and sisters in the chat. Hail Dr. Coughlin Nails, Bruce Lombardo, my brothers and sisters that have been in the High Council chat for the last 2 years. If you all would do me a favor and retweet this stream, give it a like, I would much appreciate it. Hail the Fandom Menace.
Yeah.
Considering, though, we're being shadow banned or ghosted or whatever, we're doing pretty good, guys. So, yeah, definitely thank you for being here because we were over 1K last I looked, right?
Yeah, we're still we're at 1099 right now. So
there you go. You guys can make it happen just like always.
So let's see what is going on with the audience here. So we got our friend, where did we go? Oh, Bomb Shoes that says, just more proof that shippers ruin everything. They do. They're not your target audience.
No, they're weirdos. I mean, and you know what? There's a thing for that. There's always been a shipping kind of set. I remember back Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. You know what I mean? I remember there being stories out there about different. You know, I remember, but it's not mainstream. All right. And the problem is that a lot of these shippers are loud. They're the loud, toxic minority, and they project their outlook of everything being sexual on everybody else. And that's why when we complain that we get a She-Ra that's a 10-year-old boy instead of looking like the classic, beautiful, heroic woman of the 80s, that it's because we want to jack off to it. That's not it. I want good, decent representation. I want something I can look at and enjoy as I'm watching a story unfold. And a lot of the creations that are being served to us by these people are the fringe minority. And that's why we have questions about Robin Hood questioning your genitals.
That's right. We know Pornhub's free.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I don't even think they got that on Pornhub, bro.
No, but my point is, no, I know. My joke was, though, and this is what I said, when I brought this up, it's like, that's what bothers me about them every time they're like, oh, you don't, like when Matt brought up the whole thing about Birds of Prey appealing to no one. It's not appealing to women and it's not appealing to men. So who are you trying to appeal to? And clearly they were appealing to no one because the movie bombed horrendously.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem we have here. But as soon as he said that, he got thousands of tweets off that thing going, oh, you're just trying to fap to a fucking comic book character, you weirdo. And he got called all kinds of names, accused of all kinds of shit. And I've met his fiance. She's gorgeous. I don't know what the fuck these people, it's none of their goddamn business, but you know what? It didn't bother him, but it bothered her quite a bit because, the shit they're saying about it's like, you know what? You got to let it slide because these idiots just show their stupid on their sleeve when they do that.
Well, look at what happened with the redesign of the of our Chris chick.
Exactly. Well, they even go after women.
Yeah, well, and Anna with her covers, or she also redesigned that one too. I'm talking about like the other redesign of that too for Avar Chris, where I chimed in and I'm like, okay, I want to see a more womanly figure on a Jedi, not somebody who I have to check their genitals to see if I'm identifying them correctly.
Did that picture confuse your genitals, Mecca? It confused
Well, I'm
mine.
confused what genitals they have. They don't confuse
She
mine.
wants to see them since they're so important all the time. She says that very often.
Yeah,
she's
I
like,
do.
since they're so goddamn important, show them to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, let me check.
That's
so I
pretty
don't
much exactly what she says. Yeah.
We want to see 80s ball shorts on
But
these
no,
characters.
even before all this Robin Hood shit, I mean, they've been doing this for years and they act like such fucking hypocrites, going right back to Buffy.
Mhm.
As soon as they were going to make Buffy a black girl, every SJW lost their fucking minds, and it was every single
They're
one
all
of them
racist.
that were going after us. And just like the whole thing with fucking stupid ass Brie.
But they're the moral authority, Tom.
I think there should be more parts for minority women. Well, then good. Then why did you take one from a
Then
minority
quit
woman?
appropriating stuff that's already exists and just basically black facing it or brown facing it or yellow facing it.
Look, they
and
did
some
give
of these
us
other things like we get with some of these superheroes and shit. If you want more diversity and representation, maybe don't be so ist yourselves.
Mecca. They gave us Snowflake and Safe Space.
Yeah, such a pathetic character. The guy can't even hide in his own one.
They have new SJW characters over at DC this week. I'm sure you guys saw those articles pop up.
Wait, maybe not.
From the Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, I saw a little bit of that.
No.
What was her name? Thylacine or some shit like that?
What?
A dinosaur?
Visine?
A thylacine is a large carnivorous marsupial now believed to be extinct. Yeah, that was the character. We'll get into this.
They already have one.
The new DC comic book superhero Thylacine is an indigenous Australian from the Pilbara. That's what it is.
Oh.
Remember, folks, we need to have I get it, like an international squad of superheroes sounds cool, and it does. But these ones are a little preachy. It's a little too on the nose.
It comes off as you're just hiding behind someone's ethnicity as a character trait, which is really, really, really offensive if you think about it.
Right. Speaking of Gotham High, which we brought up a few times, that one's like the most in your fucking face. Because they literally changed every single character except for Joker, and that's it, I think. That's the only character that's white in the entire book, isn't it?
Yes, but that's okay. He's the bad guy.
That's what I'm saying. That's okay because he's the bad guy.
So, by the way, folks, just a heads up.
Oh, and Two-Face.
And the yellow-faced Batman, though. That's what they did.
Gotham High is going to be a dumpster fire.
I'm looking forward to the series.
One day we'll get it. I mean,
I thought Poison Ivy they made Asian too.
Oh, the yellow-faced Poison Ivy too.
Hey, why did they run with the Poison
Ivy
Harley Quinn love storyline? I mean, you want diversity and stuff. Everybody'd be happy with that.
No. She's got two boys. They put her in a love triangle between Joker and Bruce Wayne.
I know.
Yeah, because lesbians are too hot and attractive, and we would be like, "Ooh, we can fap to this now."
And which we pointed out, I think it was last week, where I said, for one, anybody who knows Joker and knows Catwoman, I don't think there's a world where those two would get along.
No.
They're both too narcissistic.
No.
Catwoman's an anti-hero. The Joker's chaos. Those two personalities would not mix.
Well, that's what I say. That's where I said Harley actually mixes with him because she's obsessed with him and she worships him. That's why they work.
Right.
Well, it's we keep talking about characters. Why don't you just make characters you want to look up to? Sure, there's the Rule 34 for everything, but I don't think that should be creators' MO unless you're a cheesecake artist or you're just trying to sell the sex appeal. It's like, hey, let me create these awesome character. Oh yeah, people are gonna fap to it. Let me make sure it appeals to that. What?
Sexy cheesecake?
No.
I'm still hungry.
Now I want cheesecake.
I did.
I don't even like cheesecake, and I want cheesecake now.
Why is the White Rock in
the
this?
first round? I think that's the woman.
That's a woman?
I think
Which
so.
one?
No, it's not.
I think that character is a female.
Are you
Why
talking
are his
about the one
wings
with
like that
wings, or are you
rainbow?
talking about the one that's driving the boat?
The one that's driving the boat.
That's who I was talking about. That's
I
a
think-
woman?
I think Osita is supposed to be a woman.
Cedar makes your life easier. Oh, they made it after the thing that's gonna make me cry. Fuck these people.
Oh,
Oh, that's the little tiger guy that got left outside of his cage and he died of exposure. He was like the last one. They have video footage. I'm gonna beat these people
damn.
verbally on my fucking channel. Seriously. With an angry video. Don't base a character off of something that's going to make me sad. Goddamn assholes. They're just hateful over fucking, was this DC?
This is DC, yeah.
Ugh. Fuck DC. Fuck Marvel. I have a new comic book rant that I was thinking about putting up from a live stream a few days ago. Now I think they deserve it.
Does DC stand for doomed cucks now, or what?
Oh shit. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, the art isn't necessarily bad. I don't think. What do you guys think?
I think that
Yeah.
looks great, but
It's all right.
it's nice and clean. Everything's well. It's a good
Valerian
looking
looked
tape.
beautiful too, but it was still a shit movie.
Agreed.
I'm just saying, that's my point. Is you can make something look great, but that doesn't mean it ain't gonna be crap.
Oh yeah, I learned my lesson about buying into comics or whatever just based on the art. Sometimes you got to have a great story. I think you need a balance though. I can't read a great comic book story with terrible art or vice versa. It's got to be a nice balance.
Those characters in the back, is that the old tag team Harlem Knights?
You mean Harlem Heat?
Harlem Heat, yeah, Harlem Knights. I just watched Harlem Knight the other day. Yeah,
I'm gonna
Is that
shoot your
Harlem
pinky
Heat?
toe.
Such a good movie. Couldn't make it today.
So let's see. We have our friend Kevin Castillo who says it's time for an effing crusade. Well, this is right after the Robin Hood stuff. Yeah, maybe so. If they try to, I don't even want to think about people getting turned on from that cartoon. No, thank you. Ugh. The Buzz CJC says, props to all the other non-degenerate phobists out there.
Hell.
Thank you, the Buzz CJC. Tim Scorpion says, I expect Chelsea is going to call us out cyberbullies for simply being disgusted at her disgusting article. We all know the usual routine.
Yeah. Chelsea's going to have a problem because we don't think about bestiality, and that is going to be a phobia at some point in the next 24 hours.
Oh my god! I'm getting
I
sick
love
of
back
this
to Chelsea Steiner.
I don't. I'm all for adults being able to do whatever they want with other consenting adults, but there has to be a line drawn at some point where this normalizing of shit that is just not normal. I mean, it's okay to have a slight fetish, the furry thing, fine, okay. But if you got to be told to keep your thing out of an animal or, quit diddling things that,
It's the new Modern
shouldn't
Family,
be
Tom.
diddled.
Somewhere her dog is hiding under a bed scared.
Oh, I read her bio. She has 2 rescue dogs. I fear for them.
Mm-hmm.
Something wrong with you motherfuckers. I'm sorry. Just your
know,
mama
she's
raised
got
you
a
wrong.
Coke
That's
bottle
what it
she's
is.
sucking on, and she could use for something instead of, I don't know, banging carpets and
This is
whatever else they do.
This is the new Modern Family, Tom. You have to accept it. This is what America wants. This is normal.
It's something.
I've never conformed to anything in my life, and I'm sure shit not going to start now.
Hail, sister.
Now, this is, I don't know. I could accept a lot of shit. Not this.
To no go,
Quit
Jeff.
putting your dicks in animals. It's wrong.
I'm so mad about the Tasmanian tiger.
I don't know, Jeff. That sounds really closed-minded. You can't accept that.
Yeah, call me every terrible name that I'm not into that. That's just not my
I'm
bag,
drawing
baby.
a fucking line. There's a line and it must be drawn here. I will go no further.
I mean, I suppose if you can't get anything else and they're willing and consent.
Well, what's worse is these, and I'm not even going to say what it is because I think you all can deduce where I'm going with this. But once you start normalizing crap like that, it starts getting into other unnatural areas that shouldn't be normalized. Okay.
No, we need to keep people in check for a reason. This is why the guy who spit on oranges at the grocery store got a beat down from
I
a
saw
clerk.
that. That
Because
was
you gotta kind of
hilarious.
keep society in check. This is why you gotta call out the fat ass superheroes for being more overweight than I am, because you're basically just telling me, okay, yeah, accept your fat ass. Don't go to the gym. Die an early death. Sure, why not? This is
It's
why we
a-
don't accept this behavior.
It's a magic backpack, Mecca. It saves her from heart disease.
Oh, she can go and fuck her magic backpack. I'm sure that's a fetish too. No,
I
it's just
draw the
pathetic.
line where
Same
there's
thing.
harm being brought to something, okay? Or someone.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But regardless, yes, motherfucker deserved that. You're gonna spit on oranges, man.
Yeah. The guy deserved to be.
Was it Florida Man? No.
No, I don't think it was in Florida. It was
I
some
know.
random
I
asshole.
just, Batman well said it in the chat. I had to.
But no, we do need to kind of, especially in today's day and age, you need to call out some of the bullshit. You need to call out some of the people who are like, I'm so offended over this or that or everything else. And, what are we doing? We're sitting here being offended. We're really not being offended by it. We're calling them out on it, I suppose.
Where's George Carlin when we need him?
There are people that call it out. It's called the fandom menace.
Right? Hail St. George.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know what he'd be like? Fuck you, I'm offended, you're offended. I hope I offended you. Fuck off.
I got him right on my shoulder at all times because I call him St. Carlin.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna punch you in your Facebook, right through your safe space.
Yes. I miss George.
He
would be
if you need
called
some
alt-right.
space, go the fuck outside. Oh, man.
Now give me an Instagram so I can smoke it.
Now, 16-bit mascot has a very nice message. Hail Jeff, hail Tom, hail Queen Mecca, and hail Steven. Yes, we need to start a GoFundMe to preserve all film masses.
Hell. Great comment.
You know where your safe space is? Up your ass! Which is where your head is.
We need to get a poorly done flash animation of George Carlin and just have you voice it. Every time we need to make a point, we just dig that out and have you read it.
Yeah, right.
George, hail St. George.
Hail St. George. Oh, and
Bruce,
then the SJWs went after us for saying, "Oh, all of you alt-right people would never be what George Carlin says." Oh, you're just assuming we're all alt-right, are you?
Oh, the sad part is they assume that he'd be on their side. It's like, you don't know George, do you?
You've never listened to his bits, have you? Like, I studied his shit, motherfuckers. I know George Carlin.
Right? That's why I say hail George. We do serve at the altar, even though he doesn't believe in religions. I'm making him a religion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you brought up SJWs. Here's I guess this is the first one I ever think of. Bruce Lombardo says, LMAO, Zoe Quinn is claiming Tiger King is about her.
What?
She broke my writing crop. I had to slap it so hard one day.
Wow.
Let's look this up real quick.
Zoe Quinn needs some kind of attention. She's going to get plenty of attention. I write about her in the Phantom Menace Volume 1. She needs some attention. She's fallen off. She's not the SJW darling that she used to be. You broke the crop?
Well, this is my first one. I broke the first one.
She got too worked up.
I just
Wasn't
hit a
that
few
when-
times too hard. But this is my favorite because it was like it was the prop one. It was the nice one that was short enough to be on camera. I just have to relace it, but other than that, yeah, I can probably fix it. I can just glue it back together.
Yes. Can you please keep talking about your writing crop and use the word lube again?
So, the Quartering's got a video out about it, but Zoe Quinn put out a tweet that says, seeing people react to Tiger King by fawning over Joe Exotic and howling about how Carol Baskin definitely killed her husband make me deeply uncomfortable with the doc as someone who had a rogues gallery of messed up dudes try to get me killed after years too.
Oh, she would fucking die with that bitch, Carol Baskin.
Not about you.
No, that's even better. Is that she's siding with Carol Baskin?
Yeah. Well, the difference is that we know where Zoe Quinn's exes ended up.
Yeah,
And Carol.
we know where
Baskin's
Don is
backyard.
too. Did you guys get a chance to look at the new episode of Tiger King?
Yeah.
We turned it off.
I knew most of that stuff because of you and Jesse.
I tried to watch it. Actually, I watched it all the way up until I can't think of his name, the boyfriend's new teeth. Which is weird because when I saw Daisy Ridley's Joker picture, that's the first thing I thought was, that can't be real teeth. Those are new teeth.
Our friend Modalicious says, Disney, Walking Dead should have been canceled long ago, and Zombieland 2's performance reflected fatigue. Quick, flood the market with zombie movies!
Right.
I wish somebody would make a video. I mean, I could do it, but I'm not as interested. I just want to watch one about the decline of zombie entertainment in Western popular culture. Because for years, zombie stuff was always in the periphery. Like, hey, we like zombies, and every once in a while a movie would pop up. Then the flood, and then just people lost interest. It'd be fun to watch, and because there's so many shows that were zombie themed that people don't even remember right now. And Modalicious, I think that's the next zombie collapse of superheroes. Hope not, but that's what I think it's going to be because people eventually tire of all this shit.
If it continues on this trend, especially if they're gonna, I mean,
Yeah.
if they're gonna take characters like Ironheart, and present it in the MCU or so forth. I mean, Spider-Man hasn't even grown all the way up yet. Really, what they need to do is focus on Spider-Man. He is the OG when it comes to Marvel, as far as the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they need to present that character as the new center of the universe if they want Marvel to go forward. And less Brie Larson, please. And as far as DC, they just need they need to go back to the drawing board and just do what Marvel did and start from the beginning. You have the great supporting, in the Justice League. You have great supporting characters. All right, all of them can hold their own if you write them correctly. All right, Aquaman's cool now. He doesn't just talk to fish anymore. And Wonder Woman's done well. Batman has been done so many times. You can do him well. And Superman, please just give us the real Kal-El. The real Kal-El, please stand up because I don't know who the last guy was.
Thank you.
And present, build the movies up individually, these franchises up, and then come to Justice League. That's what you should have done in the first place. And if they don't learn that lesson now, and if Marvel goes down the woke road, like a lot of the directors and the writers that have been assigned to these projects are, it's going to collapse. It's going to be the next zombie collapse.
It's funny you brought up the superhero thing the way you did, the classic ones. Did you see today on Twitter that Spider-Man 2 was trending?
I did see that, yes.
It makes me laugh because everyone's like, we're talking about Spider-Man 2 and it's still reaching the top. A lot of people are saying it's still never been topped. And then today we had confirmation from Sam Raimi that he's directing Doctor Strange and the connection between Doctor Strange and Spider-Man 2 and all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that Sam Raimi can inject a little lifeblood into... Because here's the thing about the MCU, and this is maybe how they keep it viable moving forward. It used to be very much the directors were... You get Jon Favreau in the beginning, and you had Kenneth Branagh and Joe Johnston. But after you get to the second wave, like the Russo brothers, everyone's like, we love the Russo brothers. Yeah, but when you saw Captain America Winter Soldier, did you really know the Russo brothers that well? Were you this big Russo brothers fan, or did people really accept them afterwards because of their quality work continuously? But MCU, a lot of these films were very much, it doesn't matter who directed it. It's just, we have this plan. It's very Kevin Feige centric. I think what the next phase of MCU stuff's going to be to keep it fresh and interesting is going to be very director voice heavy. So Sam Raimi's got all the old tropes that he's created over the years. The way he does the not crash zoom, but the close-ups, the montages, the humor, the Dutch tilts. There's just a Sam Raimi approach to a lot of stuff that I'm thinking we're going to get with Doctor Strange 2. And if that really works, or if this is the plan behind the scenes, I think Disney might just get stronger directors instead of just nobodies that they can direct. They can direct, and you're going to get films with a stronger identity. I'm not saying you're going to reach the levels of Spider-Man 2, but if Doctor Strange 2 is going to have Sam Raimi and Benedict Cumberbatch is a fantastic actor, and you're going to get that kind of direction, that kind of acting, and maybe some creative freedom because you don't have to stick to, we're going to
and Bruce Campbell.
And Bruce Campbell.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna get something incredible. I hope.
You would hope so.
Yeah.
Well, Bruce Campbell tweeted out about it today. Actually,
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I think I linked that in chat here. If you scroll back a bit.
Sorry, I
Bruce.
just had to throw that in.
Love Bruce Campbell.
Well, that's
Love
what I'm
his-
excited for. We might.
No, this is very exciting news because, and it's twofold in a few ways. Because A, we're getting a great director directing Doctor Strange 2.
Mhm.
B, it also kind of tells me that maybe, just maybe, they're course correcting a little bit. And I hope that's true. I hope they saw that they were going to hit some icebergs and they caught it in time because, we had the backtrack of Captain Marvel being the strongest Avenger or whatever. And, I know we got in Humans coming out or whatever, or Eternals, not in Humans. And
Yeah, but that movie's not as safe as everyone thinks.
I know. I'm not, and honestly, I don't think that's really on anybody's radar, and it's going to kind of come and go, like the Inhumans is what I was probably trying to say. But I want to hope that with the X-Men on board, and with this kind of a move, because this kind of says a lot about Feige too, because he's never been one to let big directors come in and play in the playground too much. He even kind of drove Favreau to the side. Speaking of, we were talking about earlier about how after Iron Man 2, he didn't come back to direct again, but he was still there to play,
Happy Hogan.
Happy Hogan, yeah. So I almost called him the character he played in Daredevil for a second.
Oh, Foggy Nelson.
Yeah, I almost said Foggy. That's Foggy I am right now.
I
But no.
forgot he was in that movie.
I know, right? But like, yeah, so yeah, I mean, the fact that Feige's allowing somebody like a Raimi to come in and do this, I think says a lot. And I hope is a hopeful thing for the MCU. Now, again, I'm not totally bought yet that the MCU isn't going to happen, but I hope this is a step in the right direction that it's not going to.
Well, the MCU, to use the phrase that you guys have coined, it's not going to be
actually
good for
Gary
anybody.
did, but yeah.
Okay, but it's not going to be good for anybody because you can't. We've learned you can't guilt people. Like to bounce off Daisy Ridley. Where is the love gone? Well, Daisy. I mean, Marvel. If you go that approach, you're going to be asking yourself the same question: where's the love gone? Because why don't you just create great teams? You know, I don't think the X-Men are going to do as big a numbers unless they can get out of their own way with the X-Men. Instead of trying to sell, diversity, this, that, and the other, just sells the fucking X-Men, and it's already built in, and don't even promote it. Just give us the X-Men and ignore those people.
Right. Well, it all depends on if they're going to ignore those people. And this is like the unexpected arrival of the virus that cannot be named. How long were they going to sustain pushing that type of rhetoric in the entertainment? How long were they going to do that? Just to sacrifice creativity for pushing different narratives. Now they've hit this wall, like we all have. So again, like how are they going to be able to sustain that? Because really, when everything opened backs up, you're going to need that base consumer that you have been dejecting for several years now. You're going to need them. So what kind of products are you going to put out? Are you going to keep running with a narrative, or are you going to put out quality?
The narrative is what they're going with, man, because they want to look good on Twitter.
Twitter is not life.
Oh, I know. Punkle, thank you very much for your super chat. Punkle says, Filoni thought Yulleran's white suit equals Grand Admiral. He's ISB 2 seconds on Wikipedia. What he did to Grievous, Order 66 stormtroopers, he never cared. I didn't realize that Dave Filoni... Oh, I guess you're talking about stuff through the Clone Wars that he contributed to the lore. Okay. I was like, what did he do to General Grievous? Because I know, unless he's the reason General Grievous has the cough. Well, no. General Grievous had the cough in the cartoon. And just for a quick aside, General Grievous kicked ass on the Clone Wars cartoon, the original one. Mm-hmm. Not as cool in the movie or the CGI cartoon. Like the first Genndy Tartakovsky one. He was the shit in that.
Yes, and now he's non-binary.
Woo! Just what I always wanted. Our friend Immortal Coil, what's up? Long time no see. He says, question, are they targeting a demographic or attempting to engineer desirable characteristics within society? Steven, you're an author. What do you think about this point?
Could you read that again for me so I can dissect it?
Question, are they targeting a demographic or attempting to engineer desirable characteristics within society?
They are absolutely using it as a form of social engineering for acceptance of fringe beliefs that are held, and it's disingenuous. They're not even being honest to those fringe sects. This is really just about the breakdown of the modern family. To be honest with you, I'm an old school '90s lefty. All right, I remember like not liking Christian conservatives, and I remember fighting for gay rights, and I got those are my values. Equality for all, and we've gone from that. These very disingenuous people who have used politics and now using entertainment in order to socially engineer society. These are the people who are not a part of the fabric of the traditional family, and so they've taken these feelings from the '90s. These, the people who supported like NWA, speaking out against the horrific atrocities that would happen by LA police to black people, in the '80s and so forth. They've taken all of these things, transgenders, and they've all brought them together into one lump condition, all one group, and then they've pushed it. They push these fringes upon everyone and these ideals disingenuously, not for a progressive means, but in order to break down the traditional family, in order to break down your man homemade your male role, the guy who goes and gets the bread, the guy who is a manly and raises his son, the traditional woman who may stay at home and want to be a mother and want to be a wife. These traditional roles are a threat. that stability is a threat to them. So they're using these. I know I covered a lot of things in short spans, but they're using these ideals to destroy the fabric of the modern family, to create division, to sow division and hate, to create more racism. Because, I mean, let's face it, racism has been on the decline for decades since the civil rights. I'm not saying it isn't gone. I'm not saying there are places that don't have racism or sexism, but they have been on decline in the West. And one of the things that has been holding this progression together has been the idea of family, accepting your gay cousin, accepting so-and-so. And so they want to break the family apart. They want to keep people separated, divided. They want to keep the family unit look as a bad thing, the stabilizing force within our culture, so that they can continue to destabilize us as a culture. Because if you divide, you conquer. And these people are just.
How's that working for him, though? Seriously, I gotta jump in on this one.
Go right ahead.
Conspiracy theory shows and stuff, and I understand.
Well, I'm not being conspiratorial.
I know. But when I hear breaking down the modern family, no, it's not nearly. I don't believe it's nearly as complicated as that. Because look at this: we're people. We don't have the ability to tell somebody an anecdote between 5 people without it getting completely discombobulated and turning into purple monkey dishwasher, like in a game of
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, so we don't really have the ability to organize anything. It's a bunch of people who aren't quite, I don't know, critically thinking, who probably are well-meaning, but they are not quite critically thinking enough, and they fall into a lot of this group think, and they are on their phone texting when they hear, oh yes, some white men did some bad things a long time ago, and they translate that to white man bad, because people only hear about a third of what they're told, or information that comes in. You only hear about a third of it anyway. And I think a lot of it is that, and a lot of it is Hollywood getting called out by the Me Too movement sort of people, because I have video evidence of Natalie Portman demanding that for the next year they put all female characters in movies, just as a way to push. Oh,
Natalie's a crackhead.
Women in power.
Don't even get me fucking started on her. But no, you're both fucking right, and I'll at least in my opinion, because Mecca's right in the sense that I do agree. There is a lot of these people that are just followers. They're fucking lemmings. Yes. They see what the rest of the people are doing. Yes. They're following along. They don't realize the ramifications of it. And you're right. They want to rewrite history because it's all white man bad, but ignore the parts where, white women enjoyed having a slave too, Yeah. Or, it's black women and white women and black men were just as prejudice against fucking gay people as anybody else was. Let's ignore that part. It's all white men.
One of the founding principles of SJWism is not respecting the past, which means not respecting those.
Even in a sense that to do that in their mind, in their fucked up mind, to do that, the only way they can accomplish this is to completely break down the family dynamic. Because why? Because that's
daddy. Because that's for a living.
For what a man is all about, what a true cis male or whatever they fucking labeled us now is all about. That's another thing, is the fucking labels.
They're mad because they have to work for a living. These are the Mary Sue Riders. These are the Dana Schwartzes. They're mad that they have to work for a living. They see women who had it better than them, a few generations back, who could stay at home and raise their families. And they're mad because they were told that they're princesses by their rich daddies, and they are used to getting everything handed them on a silver platter. And then when they get out of school, they're not allowed to. So they have to go and take it out on daddy. And you have this whole subculture of people who just recite back white man bad, white man bad. And they have to go out of their way to use their little bit of privilege to go and feel like they're doing something useful, so they don't sit there and feel guilty about how privileged they actually are, at the same time while being resentful of daddy who didn't give them enough of an allowance, and they have to go out and work for a living.
Which brings up another founding value of SJWism, which is creating an enemy that is impossible to defeat. So you always have something to complain about. If you complain about the modern family, straight men, period, or straight whoever, the family, if you always have that as an enemy, as an objectified grievance, then you will always have something to bitch about.
Yeah, and that's just it, like hologram nunchuck. That's what I get where you're coming from, Steven. They're trying to remove the masculinity from the family dynamic, is what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I tried to break down a 45-minute conversation in a few sentences, and I apologize. Didn't do it well.
No. I'm just pointing out in the chat.
I don't want to work for a living. I'm resentful that I have.
Pablo Rivero says, fuck the labels, and that's what I get from a lot of my friends who are not white and not straight, and one of them's on the board with us tonight. And they say,
what?
Well, Mecca. It's not Jeff, trust me.
I want to be labeled more than just the.
I was gonna say, it's either you or me, because everybody knows that Jeff and Jesse are together, and well, no, I'm just kidding. Anyway, no. Anyway, no, it's serious. They'll say the same thing though. They're sick and tired of the fucking label bullshit. Because I've heard more than one individual say the same damn thing to me in almost the same fucking words in the same fucking way. We fought for years to not be seen as gay. We fought for years not to be seen as lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
We fought for years just to be seen as another person.
Preach,
and now all of a sudden they're putting fucking labels on their head. And if you don't recognize the labels, they're going to drag your ass into fucking court and they'll fucking win. That's the fucked up part anymore.
Mm-hmm. And if a label is so important, if you're so obsessed with me calling you the right pronoun, then you need to put your genitals on your profile picture so I can check. So I don't.
Exactly.
I guarantee you, if you put your fucking, and I've said this before, Mecca, and you know this true. If you put your fucking what you identify as on your fucking profile on Twitter, I'm not following you back.
I can't put a picture of my nuts on my profile picture.
Well, if
is
you
that what you're
picture of your nuts on your profile, that's different. We got to talk then. But it depends on the context, but like Mecca knows what I'm fucking talking about. If you put your pronouns, if you put your other bullshit like that on right in your fucking Twitter tag crap.
Hi, I'm a this and a this, and this is my pronoun, and this is what I identify as, and this is my.
I don't care.
Right. That's all I have to say is label, recite back NPC.
Exactly. I can't say it any more like Tommy Lee Jones than that. I don't care.
His best line ever. So let's see what else our audience is saying. So our friend Bruce Lombardo also says, he says, can we have a gender swapped First Night remake? Was that the one with Martin Lawrence? First Night?
One of his worst movies ever.
I saw that in theaters on Christmas in whatever year it came out. 2001. My mom and I went to the movie one day. We were like, let's go see Martin. We regretted it instantly.
I don't blame you. That was not a good movie.
Yeah. Like I said, one of his worst movies. Yeah,
dig it.
But at least he made up for it with when we talked about last week, Jeff. Real quick, Blue Streak.
Yes, I'm a federale.
Agreed.
That movie is so good. I need to watch that soon.
So it's not a good movie, but it's
I forgot Dave Chappelle was in Blue Streak as well.
Yes, he is.
Late 90s comedies were fucking great.
Did we say Dark Knight? I guess we must have said Dark Knight. It's Black Knight. Yeah.
First Night with Richard Gere. So you want Guinevere to be the Lancelot?
Or First Night, that's what you said, yeah.
Okay, Martin Lawrence was Black Knight.
Black Knight. I knew what he meant. I don't care for that Richard Gere crap either.
It was not good Arthurian lore. Excalibur was not magical. Take that piddling shit away from me. I want mermaids. I want all of it. I want druids.
Had a gerbil
magic. I want the famed sword Excalibur. I want you hunting for the cup of Christ, whatever you want to call it. Like I want that. If you give me Arthurian lore, I don't like any of the Arthur movies that don't involve any of the druidism. I really don't. I want old school Excalibur. All right, that's what I want.
I'm a princess. Oh, great! Just what we needed. A Druish princess.
That's right.
Funny,
That's right.
She doesn't look Jewish.
Funny, she doesn't look Jewish.
God bless John Candy.
Barf! Not in here, pal. This is a Mercedes.
Quit looking up my game.
Sorry.
We should do a Spaceballs watch party on the High Council.
Fuck yes. What'd you guys find? We ain't found anything yet. How about you guys? Nothing. What about you? We ain't found shit.
Punkle says Mando's too. He screwed Mando's as well horribly. He being Dave Filoni. I wasn't as well versed in the Mandalorian lore. I know people had some issues when they showed up on the Clone Wars. Maybe, and I think people though have some upset. There's some problems though with the way they're presented in the Mandalorian themselves. I believe sometimes it's less is more. The less you know about these things, sometimes you over explain and you ruin. And you take away the mysticism, like with the Force. It was great, and then you added midichlorians, and now it's a joke.
Right.
Bruce Lombardo also says Tori Ojeda should be in the Mannequin 1987 remake. I don't want them to remake Mannequin.
I was
like
thinking
that
too. I seen that earlier, and I was thinking the exact same. Don't.
That's
don't
a perfect film. Yeah, don't. Mess
well,
with
I think
that.
Mannequin 2 proved that it's a one and done.
Yeah,
don't fuck with it.
Well, there's certain things you just shouldn't touch. Back to the Future. Don't touch it. That's perfect. Leave it the way it is.
Oh, so this Tori Ojeda person that the super chat was referencing was that polyamorous woman who doesn't know who she's pregnant by.
Oh yeah.
I heard about this. I know this is going.
Yeah. Well, she's from Florida. Why am I not surprised?
She friends with Carol Baskin?
Maybe. I don't even want to pull this up. These people are gross. Anyway, moving on.
Well,
we
you
have
know what
standards
happened?
here.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't even know if you want to get into that.
Well, she's preggers. That's it.
Oh, you don't know what happened since?
No.
Or is this a different one?
What?
Is this the polyamorous one with the 5 husbands?
Yeah.
That's the one I'm remembering.
She had the baby.
Oh, it was none of theirs?
Was it black?
Oh, it was the one that they said they knew, but it gets fucked up from there.
Oh,
The one dude's in jail right now for like doing shit to the kid.
Oh,
ew, gross.
Not like sexual, but
no, he like broke the kid's arm or something.
Still,
yeah,
still,
rib
no.
and yeah, but it's fucked up situation, That Umbrella guy did a video about it, I think, and a couple other people have too.
Yeah, I've seen him on Twitter talking about that a little bit. It's like, see, these creepers. There's all these studies psychologically where you don't bring in, strange men into, a relationship if you have a child, because your likelihood of them getting assaulted goes through the roof. So imagine if you're in a freaking household where somebody you're in love with is pregnant with another guy's kid, and
Yeah,
How is that not frustrating?
and
Right, but how is that not frustrating? I mean, just that I can't understand that whole scenario.
I mean, I can kind of understand to an extent if you're like super healthy about stuff anyway. But
Okay.
none of these people.
you
look
know
like-
what? These women need to listen to the song "You Can't Always Get What You Want" by the Rolling Stones and take this shit to heart. Okay, us men, we would love to have a fucking harem, but you know what? We can't always get what we want.
Tail Tom.
They're catty and they fight, they bitch and they piss and they moan. I mean, anytime any guy's with more than one woman or has a few on a thread or lead them on by a thread, they're gonna find out about the others. They're going to get the wrong text messages about something that you said to another one, and like, oh, okay, so this isn't a thing. I'm going to move on to something else. And there's always going to be that sort of, thing where people don't want to share somebody with somebody. They don't want to. But at the same time, like to be in a relationship like that, you have to have like.
No, but you're right. This woman manipulated these guys into thinking that this was an okay thing, and not to go down too far into this rabbit hole, which we already have. Like that Umbrella guy pointed out. Like they even pointed out in the original articles that there was jealousy between them and there was fights, but they had supposedly squashed this. But as he also points out, if you type them in, the arrest stuff, it doesn't come up right away. It's like way down the list. Like nobody in the mainstream media is talking about this because again, it goes against their fucking narrative. Just like every time they go after somebody like Jeff or Doomcock or Nerdrotic, they never bring up you or Anna or anything like that because you guys don't go, or Jesse either because you guys don't fit the fucking narrative. That's why.
Fit their little stereotype.
They don't even realize that Jeff's not fucking white. That's how fucking stupid they are.
White.
Right?
I know Jeff's not white. Does his mom know?
Does my mom know? I don't know. I'll call her up and ask her right now. Hey, mom.
That is
like
the best line in See No Evil, Hear No Evil. What do you mean I'm not white? Does Dad know?
Wasn't there something like that in Men in Tights too? What do you mean I'm not black?
Probably, yeah. Because the black guy didn't know he was black or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, just come on, people. Fucking A, give me a break.
Before we get off polygamy, I'd like to give a special shout out to my hero, Doc Antle. Thank you.
And you know, not only that, not only does every guy want a harem, but the moment they date two women at the same time, they realize that's a dumb fucking idea.
Unless you have tigers.
Unless you have tigers and you've got money, then yeah, it just doesn't work, yo. It's a little different if you got
tigers. You can be a gay
tigers.
cowboy.
You got yeah, you can be a gay
That's right.
cowboy with a harem. That's correct. Hail Tiger King.
Hail the Tiger King.
So
Joe Exotic forever.
Oh my god, he might get out one day. Silver Phantom X, thank you very much. He says, cross fingers they don't ruin Mandalorian season 2. I hope they don't, because I can, we can be hesitant about stuff, but I did enjoy most of the Mandalorian, and I want it to be good. I want to have fun. I don't want to pay for not gonna buy it, but I don't want to buy it down the road on like a Blu-ray and be disappointed. So nobody wants it to be bad. We all is that a fair statement to make for everyone here? We all want it to be good.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to be.
I don't think I've ever hoped for any movie to be bad other than Twilight.
I mean, I hoped that The Amazing Spider-Man 2 would be a failure, and it kind of was, so I'm happy about that. But other than that, I'm with you. Oh, God, I hate that movie. Anyway, Go Big Boar, Go Home says, more experienced writers know this won't sell and want reasonable income, but the young zealots are too dumb to know they're being underpaid and used. So that goes back to the Dana Schwartz comment.
Mm-hmm.
That's a valid point. I know your boy Zach had covered that stuff when he talked about the Milkshake Girls years ago, but it really falls true to all of these things. How these people aren't focused on good quality stuff. They're just like Go Big Boar, Go Home says, they're young zealots and they don't make anything. They probably make more working middle management at like Bed Bath and Beyond or something, but they want to be able to, they have they have the keys to these big kingdoms, but they don't really get paid the big sum that they would elsewhere. They just want to have these ideals come first before a good job with a good income, or impacting the world positively. A lot of these guys that used to write comics back in the day, it was their dream to get in there and do stuff. People like Paul Levitz. I don't know everything he's done from the DC staff wise, but he was a fan. Used to write fanzines, then started writing comics, then became the president of DC. So I mean, these people fans usually make the best writers, whatever. And even Stan Lee was a fan of writing. Maybe he created a lot of the shit we all know and love, but he was a fan. He was a writer beforehand. He was into this stuff. It's not like they just picked up some Joe off the street and said, hey, write this book. No, that's not how it works. That's what it works.
Well, even Star Trek used to take fan submissions.
Any notable ones off the top of your head?
Well, isn't that how DC Fontana got?
I want to say that's how Ronald Moore might have gotten.
I was going to say, I quite a few, as far as I know, actually. Especially during, I think, the TNG era, wasn't it? I'm not as up to, like...
I think so, yeah.
Rob, he would know. He's not here, probably.
Oh, it's been so long since... Like, Robert Meyer Burnett would know specifically.
Yeah, Robert Meyer Burnett or Rob.
Yeah. What they wrote.
But yeah, just saying, though, I mean, they knew then, but now the thing is, I've heard it more than once from several different people that if you want to write for Star Trek, the last thing you tell them is that you're a fan.
Wow.
Because the last thing you want to deal with is the baggage that comes along with it. And I got to assume it's the same thing at Star Wars almost and anywhere else. Because, Ryan Johnson, then they come out and say they're a fucking fan, but damn well he ain't.
No.
It's like, yeah, he hasn't watched Star Wars since the son of a bitch came out in theaters. Give me a break.
No. Ryan was not a person who understood Star Wars. He was a person that had a specific design, and that was to piss off 50% of the audience. And he got more than he bargained for.
Yeah, and he's a perfect example of what we've been talking about this entire time, is that they use these platforms to push an agenda and a narrative that doesn't fit with what Star Wars is or Star Trek is or even Ghostbusters or all these other, which is arguably, like we bring up, I think you bring up in your book is, we brought up in our original videos, that's where Midnight's Edge kind of, blew up, was that, they're pushing this narrative with this movie where it don't fucking belong.
It doesn't belong there, especially in platforms like Star Trek, where it always has. It's always been very forward thinking. And Star Wars,
Star Trek and stuff are huge. Yeah.
nothing at all to do with Earth. It has nothing to do with Earth. It has nothing to do with Earth politics. You can use certain things from history and Earth politics as a reflection, or situations as a reflection. Perhaps that's fine. I mean, certainly the lore was inspired by earlier lore from our planet, but you don't look when you go back and you watch, 1977 Star Wars. I don't think is it making any grand statements about 1977 politics or social agendas?
Not really. It's a bit humanist in a sense that
a little bit of like 70s era feminism.
I was just going to say, well, yeah, there's a little bit of stuff in there, but it's not on the nose, and it's presented kind of like Star Trek in a humanist way, to where it's like the rebellion is being persecuted, not just a specific race. Just like with Star Trek, they used to take, an angle on things like Orville does now, where they don't tell you what to think. They don't tell you any specific answers. They don't tell you what's right or wrong. They just present an idea to you, and it's up to you to decide. And how many kids did that affect growing up when they saw, the episode with Frank Gorshin on Star Trek, where, you had the half black and half white faced aliens, and, it took Kirk, how long in that episode to get them to see that they're not that much different from each other. And how many kids took that home and took that to heart, and they're like, yeah, especially in that era when they were brought up that way, to believe that, if you're not, if you're that kid next to you is a different color than you're not supposed to get along with them.
Right. Well, that's why I say Star Trek is more made and designed to confront social issues or political issues. But the way that it's been ham-fisted and just lazily, sloppily done with CBS All Access, it's like you're watching a reflection of 2017, 18, 19 far extremist politics, far left extremist politics. That's not Star Trek.
Well, like Dr. Coffee knows, they never saw, Tom. That's the point, is they didn't always fix every goddamn problem. You can't, and that's the way the thing is it's certain things they got to work out their way through a generation. They're a generational thing.
Well, you make the call. I'm not doing it.
There's the Riddler.
Continues too. They pretty much hit the nail on the head with continues as well. It's how they handled, issues of, prejudice, for example, just so well, rather than being super preachy and partisan. They just kind of said, hey, you might not realize it because your planet doesn't see color, but here you go. And this is like on Star Trek Continues is what I'm talking about. But here you go. If you want to exterminate and build a wall to keep all these other people out, then you go right ahead. But we're going to make sure you know who you're keeping out. I'm not going to stand here and let you do this one way or another. Or I think it was no, you need to make the call after you have this information or something. It was something like that. I need to rewatch it. It was a good episode. But.
Poet Scotty says STD was horrible. Yes, and you must apply Orville cream when exposed to STD.
Extra strength.
It's funny you brought up Orville, because when you were talking about those points, the Orville does make a lot of those. That's better Star Trek than Star Trek these days.
Yeah,
right.
well, because STD is exactly what Steven and Mecca was explaining there. Is it crams in all this bullshit for brownie woke points, and it totes out all these specific token characters, like we keep bringing up in our show, is they basically do what the old circus freaks, like, look at what we got a chicken lady, we got a dog boy, and that's what they're doing. We got a gay man, we got a lead black actress, we've got wheelchair man. We've got,
If he's not there for anything more than just representation and diversity, they would give him a fucking name and make him so he's useful on the ship.
Well, that's exactly the point. That's the only reason they're fucking there. It's not like they're there to fill a good role, because they take away, not just in Star Trek, they've taken away the fact that we've had Cisco in the past, or Janeway, or all these other characters that weren't white or men. Well, that
doesn't count, because Cisco wasn't playing a black captain; he was just playing a captain.
And that'd be respecting the past, and we don't do that, Tom.
But right, and that goes right back to the notion that we've said before: is this whole rewriting of history? Just the stupidity of this. I don't get on. I try to understand the thought process, because either the same fucking people who, over one or two people getting upset about it, cancel a screening of Cool Runnings because they say it's fucking racist.
Really?
Are they from Jamaica and allowed to be offended on their behalf?
Did they not? The whole point of that movie, I believe, is lost on those fuckers, because that's the thing, is they It's kind of like when they drag up people that are dead who can't fucking defend themselves in old interviews, like the John Wayne one, for instance. What all these SJWs took away from that was that John Wayne was a fucking bigot and a racist and a misogynist. Instead of seeing where he said, yeah, you know, if a character was written as black and it should be black, I'd cast a black actor. Now, nobody stopped and seeing how progressive that was for somebody like John Wayne in that era.
Right.
Instead, they're looking at the other side.
No, they're holding him to today's standards. They're holding him to today's standards of this. And they're also confusing racism with cultural insensitivity.
Exactly.
And that's one of the biggest problems. They don't even know what their own words mean. You can say an accidental, outdated terminology for an ethnic group. You're not actually prejudiced against that ethnic group. You just misspoke, or you used something you were unaware of. You might be ignorant to whatever the proper term is. And this is what I don't like about any of this shit. It's like when people say, you can't say the country that the cough came from. Why? It did.
Every other fucking
Facts are racist.
Named after, yeah.
Facts are. I'd like to hold them to the standard of one of my American heroes, Dr. Martin Luther King, when he said he didn't want to be judged on the color of his skin, but the merit of his character.
Exactly. Well, that's what we've brought him up many, many times. It's like that's what they were trying to do. They're trying to erase all the things that Martin Luther King and anybody else who's been of color or, you know, not male has done to this point in any area, not let alone entertainment. But they want to take credit for everything. And it's like, sorry, you can have a participation ribbon when it comes to, you know, lawn darts and fucking field day at high school, but you're not going to take away the man who said, I have a dream that all men and women will be created equally and seen as equal.
I risked his life and sacrificed his life.
Exactly. That's the other thing these people don't. It's what do you think screaming at the sky naked is going to accomplish?
It's gonna make me laugh at them. I mean, it's more entertainment than getting out of.
You can blame me and you can blame my parents and everybody else for as much, you know, of the global issues as you want. We knew there was global issues when we were younger. We tried to fix them. A lot of the things we did made shit worse. We didn't know that till later.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm sorry, we are all ignorant. We learn things as we go. That's what people do.
Yeah, people aren't born perfect. You can't be born and never say a bad thing or a culturally insensitive thing. Everybody has said something culturally insensitive in their lives, especially the SJWs. They just have to point out other people so they can feel superior to them.
Yeah, it's true hypocrisy, and like we've been saying, when you don't recognize or respect the past, then you don't respect anyone else's contributions to where we have gotten to today, and as far as justice and liberty for all. And if you don't recognize that, you can basically rewrite history, and you can say you're the one slaving and sacrificing, like Brie Larson breaking glass ceilings.
Pretty much, and she's one of the worst. Because if you watch her, we brought it up on the High Council. What, about a month ago? When we went through her behind the scenes, the Brisson commercial.
Yeah.
Oh, taco, and don't fight our reality.
Yeah, don't fight your reality. It's like, if you don't see it, you can't be it. And it's like, no, bitch, because like
you gotta be the first thing.
You gotta be the first eventually, and I think most women would rather be the first. And then she proceeds to bitch about a job she didn't get that another woman got instead, mind you. But she blames a guy for giving her a bad note, instead of maybe just accepting the fact that she was a shittier actress or a shittier actress than the one that got the job.
Look, it really comes. I mean, it comes down to the mentality. You look at one of the people who started it when the whole SJW thing took off, Anita Sarkeesian, who has said once that there is racism and sexism everywhere, and if they can't see it, it's your job to point it out. Like, no, you're the problem with the perspective. It's your perspective, and your perspective is flawed. And you're not only trying to point it out to people, these SJWs, not only trying to point it out, they're beating you over the head with it while rewriting history, while disrespecting everything that came before, while rewriting canon and taking over franchises and perverting them to push a socio-political narrative. You're the problem. They are the problem.
And they bully and they terrorize people. They get people fired from their homes just based on who they think you voted for.
Drive them to suicide.
They hurt people. They actually do harm and do criminal acts just because of their prejudices. What does that sound like to you? That sounds almost as bad as people burning crosses in people's lawns.
Fonzies and
That's what it kind of sounds like to me. It sounds like the people who, we already kind of acknowledge are the bad guys, these ists who don't like people based on the color of their skin or a certain religious belief or a certain, whatever it might be, or the perceived. And they go in and they do whatever they can to destroy your life. This is like when they would drum people out of town. And that's the exact same thing that they're doing now. They are no better than the people who would run the only person of color out of town with a pitchfork back in the day. This is exactly what they're doing. And they don't understand how horrible they're being. They don't understand how disgusting they're being. And you can't reason with them because they all have the same groupthink and mentality. They think they're so righteous and they think they're so progressive and they think they remind me of these horrendous religious people who would go in trying to, murder doctors at women's clinics back in the day. They're exactly the same mentality, that extremist nut job shit.
Well, they are the inquisitors of social justice, and they will come and let you know if you have the right think or the wrong think. And as it goes back to something earlier that I was talking about, it's also a form of social engineering. You don't think the way that we think. We're going to use all of our friends and our money and our power and our shame to be rid of you. They're trying to change I really just limit it to fandom engineering. They're trying to create these fandoms that think the way that they think so that they have more people to push their agendas.
Well, it is a little bit of an engineering sort of thing. It is how we talked about this a little on Midnight's Edge After Dark last night, how every time you get these articles, they're worded in a certain way to sway the public's perception.
Yes.
Like Justin Proper actually one time told me, he's like, hey, I heard Star Trek TNG wasn't very good in the first 2 seasons. Is that true? And he hadn't really been a Star Trek fan, didn't really know, but he had heard what the narrative was from all of these little accounts here and there and all of the buzz and the word around town. And this is why you kind of barely pay attention, but you'll kind of get it in the background. You'll get it in your subliminal and your subconscious that, oh, well, Russian bots did this, or toxic racists did that, or, all of these things. And you kind of recite that back because you didn't really pay that much attention in the first place.
You weren't there.
You weren't there. In my case, I wasn't there with a lot of the stuff going on for some of the other crap that was going on before I really got into it with Star Trek. And that's kind of where a lot of it started, where people were like, oh, you're just it's because you don't like Michael Burnham. Like, what?
It's the same thing with every time they do an article, like Empire Strikes Back was hated upon arrival. It's like, no. That is revisionist history. Again, and no, you're right, Mecca. These come out, and they're the same thing. Like I coined the term the other night. I've never in my life before recently in years seen what I call now anti-reviews. And what I mean is when a movie like Birds of Prey comes out and nobody wants to go see it, we get a buttload of anti-reviews where they tell us why the movie is good and we're wrong for thinking it's bad.
Right.
I've never seen these in the history of movies before in recent years when this whole movement started. Because before
Horror Story too, same shit.
Yeah, because because it was never the fans' fault that something sucked before this. Just like any other business. Just like when we did that video about, the customer in the restaurant.
Yeah, they're not entitled to our money. That's the thing they don't understand. And they think that they are, and they think they can just bully us. And this goes back to being in an abusive relationship. I'm sorry. I can only put up with being hit in the face so many times before I say enough. I'm leaving you.
Stop it, Amber.
Johnny Depp's a pussy.
Quit pooping on the bed.
I have to change the bed sheets again.
Sorry, I'm gonna call him out. Johnny Depp's a bit of a pussy for not putting his foot down earlier. He knew down what was it, 2 months in, and he chopped his finger off. Sorry, that should have been it.
Okay, he's having a midlife crisis, and he got pussy whipped. It happens.
But would you be more scared of Johnny Depp or Ezra Miller?
Fucking Ezra Miller.
Sure. Either I'd take them both out.
Johnny Depp's the kind of guy you go hang out with at a bar and get fucked up with.
Yeah.
And he's going to show you a hell of a good time. Because that motherfucker knows how to have a good time because he's been there. Like I said, I don't remember which show I said it on, but, that's what pisses me off most about the whole situation is I didn't believe her for 1 minute, and I got some flack for it. Remember, Mecca, when I said that back in the day? I said, I don't believe her. Asked when we first brought it up on Mead. But I was like, I don't have to believe her. And I realized that all this time he's bullshit, because Johnny's been dating since before she was born, and she's the first person who's ever said shit like this about Johnny Depp before.
Right.
Yeah,
Johnny
he's
Depp is basically
go on for that
comatose, except for when you say action. Have you seen him on stage?
He is very chill. He's a very chill individual.
Or he's drunk. And you can't understand a fucking word he's saying.
So, moving forward, our friend Stone Cold Jeremy says, looks like she has the coordination of a drunk penguin. Now, that's back in regards to Dana Schwartz. I'm gonna make sure I read these things.
Now, that's not fair to drunk penguins.
That's true. It's too hot for a penguin to just be walking around.
No, Mr. Madison. No, penguin.
That's such a fun movie.
Yes.
Bruce Lombardo says, I trust Mexican drinking water more than Filoni.
Oh.
Hail Bruce.
Yes, Hail Bruce is right. Thanks, Bruce, for being here for all the streams, not only on this channel, but Mindless Entertainment. By the way, folks, I've been getting tired of this Corona beard. So over on Jesse's stream tonight, I'm going to be shaving it on camera. But it's not just like, so you can watch me shave. You guys can request stupid things I do with it before I get rid of it. So if you want to have a good laugh at my expense, the link's in the chat. We can have some fun with it, because I'm just tired of it.
Is Jesse going to shave you?
No, she's going to be on here on a separate location in the living room. I don't
trust her with a razor? It hasn't gotten that close yet?
No. Punkle says, last message was out of money. Zahn led the EU. Zahn led EU as the only hope. Dude, we can all hope for a Timothy Zahn-inspired expanded universe, but Disney didn't want that. We wanted it. It would have been a much better place for all of us as fans, but
the only way we're going to see it is if you guys make it.
Yeah.
You guys out there listening. Animators, voice work people. Hell, Mecca and I and all of us guys, we'd gladly do like a cameo or voice work for free. I'm sure if you guys are going to do something like that. That's the only way we're going to see this stuff, guys. I hate to say it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. 3 Stream says, Phony Filoni with 3 unicorns. Thank you for your 3 unicorns. It makes it whimsical. Leonardo da Vinci says, 1, if Disney wanted strong women, they would have focused on Mara Jade. 2, Lucas was given control. If Lucas was given control, do you believe he could save Star Wars from the path it is on?
No.
Yeah, if they wanted to focus on a female character, Mara Jade would have been the way to go. Absolutely, motherly character, strong, doesn't take any shit, connected to the old empire. Married into the Skywalkers. Yeah, you could have. That definitely could and should have happened. And frankly, as a fan, I was expecting it. Lucas couldn't save this. No.
Yeah, I agree. I think Lucas is it's just too far gone, because what is he going to do? He had a plan for episode 7, 8, and 9 that didn't happen. And all the characters that he created are dead. So
no, but you know what I would like if Lucas did take control, just have an interview where he said, we don't have any sequel, we don't have any movies from the Disney era to pull from. I would appreciate that.
It's funny. Maybe if Disney gets desperate enough for money, they'll sell it back to him for pennies on the dollar.
Well, like we said earlier, if him and Apple decide to do a hostile takeover, but it's too late. Like you guys said, the main characters are dead. Carrie Fisher's actually gone, so we can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
And as much as George Lucas would be like, I don't need, I can just put her in there digitally. Nobody's going to want that shit. And I love George Lucas. I love him so much that I've researched him so much that I've learned to hate him as well. So, I mean, he's kind of a person. That's what I got out of it.
Kind of a person.
That's about, no, I'm fucking not kidding. That's about it. He like most people like they literally say about him is like he's almost a human being. Like they've compared him to dead fish, droids, soulless things, even worse names than that. But I mean, the guy made Star Wars. He made one of my favorite things in the whole wide world. He gave us Yoda, he gave us Darth Vader, he gave us Wookiees, so I can't hate him. But there's things that he's done that I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, cold fish is something he's been called quite a few times.
Thank you, Leonardo da Vinci. Keith Rogers says, do a Dana Schwartz versus Elaine Bennis dance video.
That'd be fun.
That's you, Mecca. Do it.
Modalicious says, Dune is fooked. Have you guys seen the Dune images? Any thoughts or opinions?
I am kind of liking what I'm seeing. I know a little bit more about it than most probably do, just because of Andre spilling a bunch of shit to me because he got a hold of the script and has somebody on the inside. But people are panicking about the gender swap. Don't. It makes sense. That's all I can really say without giving too much away for anybody who doesn't want anything spoiled.
I have not been caught up on the recent Dune news, but I do have a friend by the name of Jane Theory who keeps up on Dune videos if you guys are interested in those. And I'm not freaking out. I'm just reserving. I'm going to wait and see. You know, I like the original Dune, but I can't expect the same type of, I hope it's not the same type of cinematography from the first one. We'll see. I'm not freaking out at the moment about it.
It has some inspirations from the original Dune, but not like it's all from the book. It's the first half of the first book. I think I can say this without spoiling too much. The gender swap has more to do with tying things in with the Bene Gesserit sisterhood.
Okay.
Which they are doing a spin-off series about. So there's reasons for it. It makes sense from what I've been told.
So they're tying it into a larger view.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it may that, and that's really like the only thing that I know of that's been majorly changed, and it doesn't even really change the actual like story itself. So I wouldn't worry too much. From what I've been hearing, from what Andre's been saying, that Dune fans should be very happy with this. Ooh. The only thing they're not going to be happy with is it's only half the book. So yeah.
Dale, thank you very much. I have never liked Filoni. He claims to love the EU, but every single time he brought in the EU, he changed it just to change it. Darth Bane, Republic Commandos, Night Sisters, Dathomir, Star Wars Rebels was mediocre. Well, Dale, I've never watched Rebels out of a lack of desire, but I'll take your word for it. I just was never interested in that one. That was just one that never caught me, tickled my fancy. So I know a lot of people out there like it. They swear by it. Hey, more power to you. But personally, I was never going to be a Rebels fan after what I watched. Dale also said Filoni should never have the guts to kill Filoni never had the guts to kill his pet Ahsoka. It bothers me that she's still around in the original trilogy. She should have died fighting Vader in Rebels. I've heard this criticism a lot too. In my mind, she's dead. Whatever. I know they keep bringing her back. I guess he's trying to milk her for IP reasons, but.
Well, I mean, Ahsoka is one of the last things that many fans still love or still like, from the holdover George and the Disney era. But yeah, I mean, there's an expiration date on that character, and I agree. She should have died in the confrontation with Vader.
We also have our friend Ninja Lawyer Steve. Wait, they censored Splash, but considered not censoring the Robin Hood animals? What the hell?
Yeah, they're all running around without no pants on.
Double standard, my friend.
Well, that's only because you can actually fap to Daryl Hannah's ass without being a creep.
Well, not unless you're, what's her name? Then you've been doing it for years.
Now I better go buy that Blu-ray.
Chuck E. Cheese says, Disney Star Wars is kryptonite for careers in Hollywood. I mean, what's Oscar Isaac is in Dune, so I guess he's got something. But
I mean, Oscar Isaac's going to survive. He's had acting credits before. But yeah, you look at people like Daisy Ridley. You're always going to look at her and see Rey. John Boyega, you might always look at him and see Finn. Well,
she's got that other series she's doing, the Agatha Christie one.
Yeah, and she could do classical. I watched that horrible movie, the remake of the Orient Express.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
I went to go see it with my kid because we wanted to support the new franchise. We wanted to support the new franchise character, and there was a couple other actors in there that I really liked. And it was just terrible. But she can do that period very well. That period of classical, like 19th, 18th century, really well.
Let's see. Up next, we also had our friend Chuck E. Cheese. We read that one. Space Monkey 0899, who says Clownfish TV says Crunchyroll may be rolled into HBO Max.
What?
That's going to sweeten the deal because then you're going to have anime. Basically, what you're going to get is just Netflix again, where it's like, hey, we have everything on Netflix.
Right.
Because
that's the thing I can't understand is how they wouldn't want to sit there and go, you are going to be able to watch the entire Batman the Animated Series, all the classic Warner Brothers cartoons, all the classic afternoon Warner Brothers and Saturday mornings cartoons, and all the television shows that Warner owns a lot of TV shows.
Oh, yeah.
They actually own The Big Bang Theory except for the last few years, technically.
Babylon 5. I think they own too.
And, of course, Friends, which was the whole thing. That's the other thing they're going to push.
I'm down to watch B5 through again.
I don't like Friends.
Oh,
Wasn't
God,
there-
Babylon 5 is amazing.
Mhm.
Wasn't there like $100 million reason, or Netflix paid an extra $100 million to keep
Just to
Friends
keep
on?
them just for a couple more, like a year or whatever it was, yeah.
Well, they also, Warner Brothers has Hanging with Mr. Cooper, so maybe they'll put that out.
Hell yeah, they probably will.
That was a great show.
But I can't imagine they would want to put everything in one place. So, like, yeah, like, fuck you, Disney. We got everything.
Yeah, if they want to beat Disney, they definitely have to get some anime on there because anime is the next generation's,
Oh,
thing.
it is. It is. And that's the next thing that SJWs are trying to come after. And Japan's like, you don't get to dictate our culture.
Right.
Yeah. Plus, they got all the Boomerang, Cartoon Network, Hanna-Barbera stuff.
Yeah. Up next, we have Dale, who says that Daisy Ridley's mouth is huge, like Fright Night. Yeah, if they're
Oh
gonna
my
remake it. I agree. No Amanda Bierce, just Daisy Ridley. Dr. Coffindale says The Force Awakens was a soft reboot of A New Hope. That's how I saw it.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Dr. Coffindale, we've hung out many a times in person. You know that. Personally, I feel the same way. I feel soft reboot's too kind of a way to say it. I say a ripoff, just fucking flat out a ripoff. Bruce Lombardo says author Stephen Walton makes me so damn warm inside.
Ooh. Well, buddy, I mean, slide to my DMs, Bruce.
He's a very passionate man.
Stone Cold Jeremy says swig a beer for the epic rant. Beer flex emoji.
Hail, my brother. Thank you very much. We appreciate the support.
Space Monkey 0899 says epic rant. For your information, cat girls are not furries. Furries burn in hell.
Hail.
Jhando4 says the love that was sent to the same fifth dimension of hell to which the Star Wars EU was relegated. And for what it's worth, I don't care anymore. Also, I second what author said a moment ago.
Thank you, brother. Hail.
Dude, your rant is going to be the thing of legend here on the High Council. So tomorrow when it shows up on Twitter and on Instagram and all these other places with that clip,
I say there's a few times I think that are going to get clipped tonight. Yeah.
yeah, I think it was some good. This is a good show. I'm really proud of, even though this is the time of crisis and all this shit, I think everyone's really pumping out great content. So at least there's some positivity, some fun that can be had out there for now.
Absolutely.
Modalicious says Alex Becker's potato and restaurant analogy. Alex Becker is a YouTuber, right?
Potato and restaurant analogy. That's what Tom was saying earlier about ordering something and then getting something different.
Yeah, we did a video like that because we've done similar analogies, but then we just put it in video form, and then we actually put out a little snippet where it's just that bit.
Yeah. Alex Becker was huge. He was very anti-TLJ when when TFM was first becoming what we are today. He was loud and proud. He did something completely different. He was doing motivational, financial videos, that kind of stuff. And then he just came out with one or two Kennedy rants that were so on point from outside the sector of pop culture, entertainment, and news that they were wonderful to behold. He eventually stopped doing them. But yeah, if you haven't checked out Alex Becker's Lucasfilm Star Wars rants, God, you're missing out. Go check them out. They're great.
Raging Rhino, thank you very much for your message. We appreciate that. Shadow Fenrir 24 says, "You guys think the great artist Frank Frazetta would be canceled if he was still alive?" I'm going to say no because he's so damn good. There's no way you could cancel that man. Plus, if he was still alive, correct? That's what the message says.
Does he have a penis?
What?
Does he have a penis? and he's canceled.
We have to ask that question now.
Well, the reason I don't think
they're so anti-men, it's like, of course they're going to cancel him.
Well, you got to understand the one thing about Frank Frazetta is he's like the artist's artist. Like even the people that'd be like if Jack Kirby was alive, would people go after him? And the answer is no, because there's a special bond, a special feeling you have towards this people's art. And I don't care what political affiliations you hold, you're not going to go after your hero, because at the end of the day, you're going to feel like absolute shit. Would people complain about it? Sure. But then again, I don't think Frank Frazetta's artwork is really offensive in any way. It's beautifully rendered, amazing, powerful, raw. Yeah, it's got boobs in it, but everybody, so does other classical pieces of art. So I think if Frank Frazetta, if people gave him shit for his work, I don't think he'd be canceled. I think people would be like, there's a line for everything. I think Frank Frazetta would have been that line. I mean, remember how people were up in arms when they tried to go after Stan Lee? You remember how when Bill Maher tried to make shit about or say shit about Stan Lee, everybody was up his ass about it? Mm-hmm. It's, there's just a line that people will draw. And I think Frank Frazetta was behind that line. So Neil says, statement, apathy is death. I agree. For a franchise that's trying to build a hype, yes, apathy is death. TLJ Screwjob, what's up? He says, Prince Valium is a pill. I want to watch Spaceballs.
Oh, me too.
Thanos EVS says, so I went to jail. Turns out committing a Wayne Brady on your dead friend's mom is illegal. Luckily, I still have my keychain. It hurts to crap it out. Oh my God, Thanos EVS, your message the other night on the show caught everyone off guard. We love it. Leo Breaker 49, thank you for the clarification. Leo Breaker says, no, Jeff, the Mandalorians were explored and explained in the EU. Filoni essentially turned them into Hitler's ideal race. Oh. Okay, well, I got to go back and look at the lore of the Mandalorians then so I can get caught up. TLJ Screwjob also says, no, please, anything but that. Yes, that. Without Schwartz ring. Oh, shit. I laugh at the guy's delivery of, oh, shit, every time he says it. No. Captain Palsy says, Jeff's not white. Unsubscribe. 3 laughy faces. You laugh. That kind of shit's happened to me many a time.
Get the hell out.
I just, something you got to deal with. But whatever. NA says, quick, administer the black scene. I guess I got to take it, right? It's good for social distancing. Thanos EVS makes a good point. The guy who broke a baby's arm, well, he's a real jerk. Yeah, there's a special place in hell for you guys.
Yeah.
Logan Michael Anti-Funko Pops, thank you very much. Logan Michael says, I'm tired of the character designs from the DC Arkham games. They're overly designed, yet they look so bland. Logan Michael, I agree with you. You and I have had this, well, not personally, but I've had this discussion on the show. For as much as I enjoy the DC, the Arkham games, I can't get behind the designs because, like, Batman is basically in a suit of armor with a tiny head. The Joker looks fine for the most part, but each time the characters are just too grungy, and they're almost not even realistic at that point. And they look like everything else. They look like they were designed by Epic Games. They look like they belong in Gears of War. It's why I'm thankful I have the ability to wear, the Tim Burton costume or the Christopher Nolan costume in those games. I don't want to necessarily play as Batman with, just armor everywhere. It's not a compelling design, but I'm with you 100%, Logan Michael. Joey Bryant says, nobody expects the Inquisition. It's true. That's where the surprise comes from. You don't expect them. Dark Pierce 629, thank you very much. He says, hail the High Council. I only recognize 2 races, good people and bad people. It's a good way to look at life. I'm with you there. I'm going to follow your take. Stone Cold Jeremy. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to make a joke. I was like, the only races I recognize are wacky races.
Wah, 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 wah. Stone Cold Jeremy says, Londo and G'Kar, best frenemy arc in TV history.
Oh, Londo and Jakar.
Londo and G'Kar. What's that from?
Babylon 5.
Yes. Yeah, I'll agree.
And then finally, Dr. Coffin says, great High Council lineup. Hail author Stephen Walton. Yes.
Hail my brother.
Stephen Walton. Now, this is the end of the show, folks. So before you go, you can check out the after show over on Mindless Entertainment. There's the link. Now, author Stephen Walton, where can people find your book? Where can they find you? How can they hear more from you?
Check out my channel, author Stephen Walton. Please, where channel where you won't have to question your genitals. Check me out on Saturdays. I'm at the Fourth Wave with Sporking News Podcast, Final Death Star, and Immortal Coil at 6 p.m. on Saturday. On Tuesdays, I have TR4 with Sporking News Podcast, Jane Theory, and Lorena Creole. And on Thursdays, on Supreme Heretics channel, we do a retro review of Battlestar Galactica. Great group of us, including the whitest man on YouTube, Script Doctor. So come check us out if you want to have some fun. We talk entertainment news. You can catch me on Twitter at Lodonis, Lodonis. The first Indiegogo for the Phantom Menace Volume 1 is over, and I'm shipping those books out very soon. But the Indiegogo for the Phantom Menace Volume 2, which will have a foreword written by John Talks, it will have a chapter by Jesse Milestone, has a chapter on Mecharatum 42 called The YouTube Harpy, The Gospel According to Mark with a C, and Lord Doomcock. Hail Lord Doomcock! You look forward to that, and somewhere in the next month and a half, I'll start that Indiegogo where you can also purchase Volume 1. I appreciate all you guys' support, and I want to say this. This is the very first time I've ever been on the High Council. I've been watching this show for 2 years. I have loved every evolution of this show, and I love supporting the High Council, being with you guys in the chat. You guys have been there for me over the last 2 years, commiserating with me with all this crap going on in entertainment. My love to you all. Thank you for being here. Hail the Phantom Menace.
Dude, what an amazing outro. It's hard to top that. Becca, where can we find you?
I have a channel. It's Mecharandom42. Just like click me in the chat. Make sure you're still subscribed because pretty much I think YouTube's doing that bug again where they just unsubscribe every time you upload a video or go live. So I'm noticing that a lot. Either that or people are just pissed at me and sick of my shit. Either way, that's all good. Still watch the stuff anyway if you do unsubscribe. I'm here. I'm going probably over with Creepy Little Book in a little bit. I'm on Midnight's Edge After Dark, and I'm everywhere.
Tom, where can they find you at, my friend?
Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge After Dark, just like Micah said. But yeah, check out Steven's channel. It's criminally under subscribed to. And yeah, so hopefully we will have him again real soon, even before the next volume comes out.
Now, folks, you can always find me here on this channel, World Class Bullshitters. Tomorrow night, I will be back with Phantom Menace Tonight with myself, Jeff Hicks. I did put out a video called The Final Castration of Luke Skywalker. It's a lot of fun. I've decided, and I made this very public, I'll keep making it public. Right now, YouTube is dog shit. The rat race is fine. I love making videos. But if YouTube, to rush to make the newest content, to get the news out there, if YouTube's going to just squash you in your place, I figure, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make shit that I would want to watch, the shit I want to make. So you know what I'm doing now? I'm putting every joke and all the shit I want to in the videos because I want to make them fun. That's my number one goal. From now on, just to have fun with the audience. So go out, watch The Final Castration of Luke Skywalker. You're going to laugh. I guarantee it. I'll be back with the podcast this week. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you haven't had a chance, listen to last week's show. This High Council, if you enjoyed the sentiment, the tone of this show, well, imagine that same sentiment brought to the Amber Heard situation. It was a really great show, something I'm very proud of. You know, I don't always say, like, you know, that was a fun time. I always say how much fun we had on the show, but this is the episode that I'm the most proud of. So go back, check that one out. It was awesome. And everyone brought their A game. But I want to thank Stephen. Thank you for joining me. Tom, Mecca, always a pleasure. I got a big surprise guest I'm working on, so make sure you guys are back here when I make that announcement quite soon. Tom technically had a card to show, but the card game is not dead. It's not going anywhere. We're going to do it, but we're going to show that next week, Tom. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
All right, so we're going to show the card next week for the SJW card game. We're moving forward. Now, finally, Wanderer sent in a super chat that said, Furry, you'll never get all us to breed like rabbits. Space Marine, we will spay and we will neuter. Or we will neuter until there's nothing left. Oh, Wanderer, thank you very much. So, folks, thank you for watching. The song that plays out of my video is something on YouTube. I don't even know what it's officially called. It's from their library, so you just got to go and pick one of their tunes, John. So, yeah, I'm glad you like it, though. It's supposed to sound like Toonami, and that's the whole point. So, folks, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us here in the Fandom Menace on the High Council. Come back next week for more. And as always, folks, be safe and be excellent to each other.